Party people in the place to be, live from 58 Dream Street. James with Games. Happy Sunday, folks. A little hectic getting started here because, well, a bunch of reasons. But the most immediate and impactful one was that Danielle had a load of wash in and it finished at what? 50 seconds left on the starting soon timer. So at that point, I was like, well, I'm too much of a gentleman to be like, she'll figure it out for herself. I didn't want to just shout down and be, I'm a good guy. So I put all the laundry in. But then on top of that, she has one pair of flared black leggings that cannot go in the dryer. Then she also has several pairs of black leggings, like a pair of black shorts, a couple of black nightgowns. So separating out that one item is a much slower process than it could be. Hello, Stimpinski. Hello, Cedric. I didn't actually even see when I flipped over. Wait, excuse me a moment while I'm coughing. I didn't even see when I flipped over the screen if your chat message is even displayed. But anyone watching this on YouTube later, if they were gone by the time I got off the starting soon screen, Stimpinski and Cedric were at least here during the starting soon screen, and might even be here still. Here we are. It is Sunday, and it's a big Sunday for me. I'm excited, which is going to slightly delay us getting started here, because I got to talk a little. So, longtime viewers of this stream, and perhaps also anyone who has ever watched this stream at any point in the past year, might be aware that I had a life-changing experience last year when the Engiqueer Student Society, it's exactly what it sounds like, at my institution, asked me to be the faculty performer at their drag show. Or a faculty, not like they already had a spot that people were doing, but they wanted to get someone from the faculty. And I said yes at the time, not because I had a deep, secret, burning desire to do drag, and I was like, finally, someone's bringing me out of my shell. But rather because it's my whole gimmick to be a good guy who supports his students. So if my students ask me to do something that's not illegal, I'm going to do it, as long as I'm available. I mentioned if I'm available because I got asked to do two things for two separate student groups yesterday, and I did not do one of them. So anyway, I did the show last year, and you know what? I'm going to put something on screen in a moment. Hang tight. I got asked to do it last year, and I did it. And I don't want to say that I didn't take it seriously, because I did want to do a good job. But the bar that I envisioned for doing a good job was like, they're expecting me to show up maybe like with a wig on, and maybe I'll shave. And so I need to do better than that. But otherwise, I wasn't all that concerned with it. And so Danielle and I, the night before the performance last year, went out to Walmart and spent like $150 to get a whole bunch of stuff, but we threw something together. And we had done one makeup test, because Danielle's a very talented makeup artist, my secret weapon. And when I'd seen it, I thought okay, this is gonna be good. This is gonna work. I'm not just gonna not embarrass myself, but the students would be like, oh wow, good job. So I felt good, felt pretty good. Also, the night before, Danielle was like, you should probably put on high heels and see if you can move in them if you're gonna do this tomorrow. And I was like, oh yeah, right. You gotta wear high heels. I mean, you can't do drag and flats. So what we wound up putting me in for that first one was a pair of hold on, do they show in this picture? I'll put a picture on screen. Yes, you can see the boots that I wore. So those have 1-inch block heels on them, very wide heel. They zip very tightly around the ankles. Ignore the room's a bit of a mess. It's much cleaner now. That's not true. And it was pretty good. This is not the best picture that I had that night, but it's not bad. You get the idea. Makeup looks pretty good. Kind of see the hip padding. The outfit's fine. It's not bad. It's not great. When I showed up, the students were like, oh my God, Mr. Ross, you did not have to do that. Oh, I'm not supposed to say my last name. Oh, well, dox myself. You did not have to do all this stuff. And I'm pretty sure I crossed the threshold of having presented enough information that someone could figure out who I was years ago, and yet no one has killed me yet. So I haven't even, if I was American, I probably wouldn't have a job anymore, at least. Because I would have attracted some kind of goon who wanted to witch hunt me out of my job for being woke or whatever. But yeah. So I showed up and they were like, ah. And honestly, I will say this. When I first saw myself in full drag with my trademark, or once trademark, you can see the trademark's still up there in the logo. My former trademark mustache, I had shaved it off and I saw myself, and we don't need to dig too deep on what this says about me, but I thought, God, she's so beautiful. And I immediately conceived, I could hear what her voice sounds like, which is a Fran Drescher impression, which you might know because I've done streams in this character over the past year. And it was real good. And I had a great time. The performance was okay. Like, I'm a spirited performer in general. In the same, you know, if you've seen me play a game where I got to read the voices, you know, I'm not, you know, like Billy West does not feel threatened by my existence. But, you know, I bring the energy at least, and maybe I hit some marks at some points. And so I did the same, you know, I'm a musician to an extent. It feels silly to call myself that now. Like, I haven't performed live music in years, but I can play music. I have rhythm. I understand songs. I have a sense of performance. So I did pretty good. I did a Lady Gaga song. I did Edge of Glory, which at the time I would have told you was the best Lady Gaga song. But man, her new album's got some bangers. But I largely picked that because I tried to think of something that would be unique and like me. And I was like, I could do a jazz number. And the only one I thought of was Fever by Peggy Lee. And then at first that seemed like a great idea until I listened to the song again. And I was like, oh, right. Can't say most of these words in front of students. And yeah, so, but I went and I did it and I had a lot of fun, and it was an okay performance. And because I feel silly to say shit like, you feel awkward saying shit like this about yourself, because I am a beloved campus figure to an extent, at least to some people, and perhaps especially to the type of students who are going to show up to the Engiqueers show, to the drag show. I got a very, very, very warm reception. Not the largest ovation that I received that week, because it was also we were going in the last week of classes. So later that week, I had hundreds of people in a theater loudly cheering me for having done a good class when I ended the class. So like 110 people in a bar, not as many, not as big and audible of an ovation, but as it turns out, it hits different. It's not that it's not, I still really enjoy receiving affirmation for the fact that I try my best to be a good teacher and give my students something that is valuable to them. I really enjoy that, but it hits different when you're being affirmed by a crowd because you are the prettiest girl in the room and everybody agrees that you are the prettiest girl in that room. I don't know, changed my life because by the time I got home that night, I had conceived a real drag number, by which I mean I picked a song that was unique to me and I thought of what I would actually do during it that wasn't just mostly standing still and hitting a few poses, but not moving around too much because I'll fall in these friggin' heels. And yeah, so that happened. I made that decision. If you are a regular here or even moderately regular, perhaps you've seen some of the times, because my main drag outlet for the past year, as I've been building up some skills, has been to do streams on here as this character. So last night was this year's student drag show, and they asked me to do it. And I said, of course. And the first time I did it, they had also asked me, can you do 2 numbers? And I was like, no, good heavens. Let's hope that I can survive one. This time I was like, yeah, I'll do 2 numbers. And I had the one solidified in my mind the night of, which was to do Sweet Georgia Brown by Anita O'Day. And I knew for the most part, I knew the look, which is this. Uh, this is not me last night. In this is a better quality photograph than anything I have of last night, but the look's not as well executed because, among other things, those are not the best shoes possible for this look. Also, I feel silly saying this, but I have gotten in better shape, so I've not really lost weight because I have a weird small elf body. So getting back in shape usually means putting on enough muscle to cancel whatever fat I lost and weighing more. But I tightened up the waistline. And then on top of that, Danielle and I have been vigorously acquiring all the stuff that I need for doing good drag. And that included when I took this photo, like you're really just like, I've got my hip and butt pads on and fake boobs, but otherwise this is just my body. Whereas last night, like I was girdled in, like crush my kidneys in, all that good stuff. Anyway, so the show was last night. So last night, and like I said, don't have any great photos. In fact, the photo I'm about to put up, it isn't even really the look entirely. You'll get some of the idea. Because I'm so committed to the drag thing now that just for the walk over, I had an overcoat to wear. It's not part of the act. It was also not necessary. Danielle misread the temperature. Like, I don't know why. She was out on the balcony before we left, but she was like, you better put your coat on. And I like, it's just across the street. And I was like sweating. I was so hot. Should have just gone plain. But you get the, some of the enhancements, like, the makeup is better because the red lip is what you should do for this particular concept. And then maybe you can get the detail. I always do the colored facial gems in different patterns and stuff. Usually Danielle puts them on. Sometimes I pick the pattern. Sometimes she has an idea. But in this case, I had the idea of just like the dress has the black and the sparkly sequins to do the same thing in the eyes. So, and then the fascinator. And also another thing that I've done in the past year is wear high heels just all the time when I'm at home. So I walk in high heels like several hours a day. And so the, I was not wobbling to the stage in 1-inch block heels. Like for this number, like I just bought a new pair of shoes yesterday because we just decided at the last minute I didn't have one that was ideal. And they're just like regular black heels. They're very nice. Like they're Steve Madden. I am, affluent and childless, which is my greatest strength as a drag queen, since otherwise I am, I was 39 years old when I figured out I wanted to do this and I had no prior abilities at all. So you might as well take advantage of your money. Yeah. So, I mean, under this, it's the dress. And then I did have that shawl thing because if you ever heard Sweet Georgia Brown by Anita O'Day, she does the whole song, Sweet Georgia Brown, 3 times. And the first movement, so to speak, is just drums and vocals, really sultry. And then the second one, the big band kicks in and it's just like a, big band song. And then at the end of the second go through, the drums pick up and it kicks into swing time. And so it's still a big band, but like faster and more energetic. And so the way I did it was, and in a way, because of the sequencing of the show and some changes we had to make, this wasn't ideal. If we'd consulted Danielle, because she explained to me, and I saw later because I was supposed to be the final act of the final performer of the first act and then the final performer of the second act. But the opening performer suddenly realized that she hadn't figured out if she could do her choreography in her particular shoes. Like she had some last minute freakouts and was just like, can I switch with you so that you go first? And I think it would be a good opening act in a context where they like dimmed the lights and brought the crowd to attention and everyone was there. But I think they started the show a bit early because like people were still going in. If at some point I'm able to show some of the videos here, because we have pretty good video this time around, you will see that when they introduce me and I come in to start the number, I literally have to like tap a guy on the shoulder in the entrance because there's no backstage in the student bar, in the campus bar. So I'm coming in the same entrance. I had to tap him on the shoulder and be like, "Here, like this is the show, man. I need, just excuse me. No worries." But like he was dawdling in the entrance. So it's fun. The shot you see in Danielle's video of my entrance is like some dude, and you can see like Jamie's hair, and then like he moves aside. But so my idea was just like kind of sultry dancing, mostly walking, to do the drums and vocals part because you got to walk from the entrance to the stage. And I was like, instead of just doing that, let's start the music. And it was good, but like because the crowd was still filtering in, and because they didn't really like hush it, like they didn't really do an intro that like got everybody to stop and pay attention, and they didn't like, and this isn't criticism of them. I did not like, I should have thought about this and offered more guidance. But they didn't like direct everyone's attention so like it could have gone better, but I did that. And then the idea was, then when the big band kicks in, I will step onto the stage and whip off the shawl, and then just, if you've ever seen a video of Anita O'Day performing, just vamp like I'm Anita O'Day. And so I did that. And then when the drums start picking up, I was like, and hopped off the stage, and then started grapevining and doing jazz hands really quickly down the length of this is a very strange room. They call the campus bar, the tea room, because it's literally shaped like a T. And yeah, like having seen the video, there are a few parts I would have done differently. And like I could, and just also, if we had set it up better, I think it would have worked. But largely, it went the way I envisioned it last year, which was great. And I went back and I was like, okay, that felt good. That felt good. Didn't feel perfect, but it felt good. And then later when I saw the videos, I actually felt much better. But then for the second number, if anyone's played Hades 2, excuse me just a sec here. Hades 2 just came out. I've seen a bunch of people be like, man, I really burned myself out on Hades 2 in early access, and now I'm not enjoying the full release as much as I could have. I understood that trap and didn't walk into it. So for me, Hades 2 just came out, just became available. And one of the bosses in Hades 2 is Scylla, of Scylla and Charybdis fame in the Odyssey, a sea monster. And then her gimmick in Hades 2 is that she's formed a band, Scylla and the Sirens. And so when you get to the end of Oceanus, the second region of the Underworld run, I don't know why I need to share that detail, but you get to her a few times, and eventually when you get to her, like, because you're always fighting her and her band while they perform, and they do the same song, which is called Coral Crown, which is pretty good, the first few times. And then you get to her, and she says something about how she's felt inspired lately, and now she's going to debut her brand new song, I Am Going to Claw Out Your Eyes, Then Drown You to Death. And it's a song that lives up to its name in the sense of just being a, like, grabs you by the shoulders and shakes you song. And as soon as I heard it, I thought, like, this is a lip sync. This is, because now what I do when I hear any song with a lady singer is I try to think, like, is this something that Jamie Rose can perform? Well, Cedric, I hate to share spoilers, but in Hades and Hades 2, there's a system called the Vow of Night, where before starting a run, just like in every game by Supergiant, they give this really good difficulty customization, because before starting a run, you can toggle different things to make the game harder. Like you can do the Vow of Hubris. And if you take the Vow of Hubris, every time you take a boon that is rare or epic, that isn't a common boon from one of the Greek gods, then it permanently, for the rest of that run, reduces your magic points. Different things like that. You can take one that gives every enemy more health, like really simple ones. There's also the Vow of Rivals, and the Vow of Rivals unleashes the enhanced versions of each boss. So like regular Erebus boss is Hecate, and then she has an ability where she splits herself into three, and you got to figure out which one is actually her. Fairly common kind of action game boss thing, even a common RPG boss thing. And then her gimmick when you vow of rivals her is that she just is permanently split. So you're always fighting three, but only one of them is real. So anyway, Vow of Rivals Scylla is a collaborative performance of Scylla and Charybdis, because Charybdis is a mid-level boss in a different region. But then you can fight Scylla and her band while also dealing with Charybdis's tentacles all over the place. It's pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, I heard that song and I thought, yep, this is one of those things that like, I think this is actually like, it'll be a great drag song. I understand what I would do and how I would do it. Fits me. And it also seems like one of those, like, I'm always thinking about, what do I, when I do, and I'm going to fairly soon, put myself out there in the local drag community as an old straight man, and be like, hey, can I come play? What am I bringing to the table that is unique? And I think some of my song choices, like say doing Anita O'Day numbers, will be part of that. So I thought, yeah, this is going to work. And then, lo and behold, it came to pass that when at the end of the first week of classes, when a student in my upper year class came up to me and said, hey, first I'd like to introduce myself. And I'm the one student from the student society who's in your class this term. So I was the one put in charge of making sure we secured you early, because while we were all locked out of work, the students weren't sitting around on their hands. They were getting stuff done, including like planning in advance. So like last year, the show was late November. This year we did in October. So they invited me to the show. And then of course, as it turns out, it's a Halloween themed show. So there's no Halloween to this, except to the extent that jazz chanteuse is a totally different look than anything any of the other performers, all young students, were trying to do. And so it all came together very quickly. So my two numbers turned out to be the exactly the thing that I thought of the very night that I first realized I was going to be a drag performer, and also something that I'd never thought of for a moment, and put the costume together. So this, like I said, I don't have any great pictures, but here's a mirror selfie of the whole look after the show. So it held up pretty well. This, like, it blew me away how well this came together, because Danielle and I had the basic idea, like, got to put something siren-y together. So let's go to the Halloween store. Probably there's a mermaid or a ghost costume that would work. Probably we can get a teal wig, and we could. And so the, yeah, you can tell which part is a Halloween costume here. And then in the summer, Danielle had found a bunch of, Danielle went nuts on the Steve Madden website and just sent me links to, like, here's like 10 pairs of shoes and boots that I think you should look at that you might like. And I looked at them all, and these denim boots that I'm wearing here, like, grabbed me by the throat and were like, you will have us. But they were sold out of my size at the time. And yet, miraculously, I kept checking back now and then, and they had my size on October 10th of this year. So I ordered them, or maybe a little earlier than that. But like in October, I ordered them and they arrived. And I was optimistic that I'd be able to work them into the look, just because I spent a bunch of money on these freaking amazing boots. And also they have 4-inch stiletto heels. And so there was a part of me that was like, after the students saw me, oh, hey, look, he didn't literally fall in his little block heels, I would like to go to the next level and be like, holy shit, Mr. Ross is going off in stilettos. Fuck, I said my goddamn name again. It doesn't matter. Please don't come and kill me or anything. Mr. Teacher. I'll figure something out. Anyway, so what am I trying to say here? Yeah. So we got that stuff. Danielle didn't think that these boots would work for this look. But fortunately, when the time came to test it out, I was like, we got to try the other boots too. And she agreed to try. She's like, yeah, let's try them. And then she was like, okay, yep, I see it. They fit, because they do. It's one of those color palette blending things where, like, they're light blue denim, but if you put them on with this like grayish costume, and then also contrast the costume with the teal hair or the bluish teal hair, you get it feels like it fits. And then finally, Danielle, an excellent stylist, had the inspiration to be like, you know what? We went thrifting in the summer. We have 2 big bags of clothes. She's like, go get those jumper bodysuits. And she thought we should. This is another case where her initial thought was to do this one that I'm wearing, except she remembered as being purple. And then when she saw it, she was like, oh, I don't know, maybe we should do the black. And this is another case where my gut went against hers, but when we tried it, we wound up being simpatico. I had a feeling that the kind of salmony pink, the corally salmony pink, would fit for the sea monster look. And put it all together, and lo and behold, I found the exact limit of how sexy I would be comfortable looking in front of the students. If this was any hotter, I don't think I could have done it at school. But yeah, and that performance was a lot simpler. Like, there were a few legitimate dance steps that I tried to do in the Anita performance. For this one, if you hear the song, you'll see, like, you can probably imagine a lot of the vamping. But it's a lot of vamping and audience interaction and stuff. But I did it. It went really well. And then the last things I'll say about this show, I'll show you one other shot. This is not the full costume, because I don't have the hood on. And yeah, like, I did the whole thing with the wig on my face, like covering my eyes. And I kept a rictus grin and crazy eyes the whole time. Except there's a few parts of the song where I was like, and then I'll do a mean face right here. And, so the last things I want to point out are just some of my great feats here. Besides just that I didn't fall and hurt myself at all. During the Anita number, if you've ever heard Sweet Georgia Brown by Anita O'Day, and if you haven't, you should probably take 5 minutes of your life at least once to listen to it, because it's friggin' magnificent. At the very end, to go into the final fellas she can't get, right before that, the band, like, because they're in swing time, but they're going to slow down again, and it goes dun 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 fellas. And for that, so I was on the floor for the fast part, like working the crowd, and then I made my way back towards the stage, and at the dun dun duh, I jumped backwards onto the stage in heels. Like, this is like a 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch stage. It's just like a raised platform. But I jumped backwards onto the stage and landed it and did the ending. And then, in addition to the fact that I am wearing, I'll just say again, 4-inch stilettos here. So really, the whole thing is at least kind of impressive because I can move in them at all. But a couple things happened. One was, for the first act, where the music plays while I'm making my way to the stage, I told them about doing that. And then just as they were introducing me for the second act, I thought to myself, for the finale of the whole show, I thought to myself, I wonder if I communicated clearly enough that I only wanted the music to start when I came in for the first number and not both times. And then as I'm standing there 30, 40 feet from the stage, the song kicks in. No, I did not communicate clearly enough. That's on me. It's not a criticism of the people running the show, doing the AV. But all of my plans, like, I had a vision in my head for what I was going to do. And it involved starting on the stage with my back to the crowd so that I could. That is usually when hello, bag of magic food. Usually when I'm trying to tell people about the song and they haven't heard it before, I'm like, well, do you know Sweet Georgia Brown at all? And they'll be like, I don't know. And then sometimes I can get them by being like, you know the Harlem Globetrotters song? Like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So if instead of whistling, like it was a person singing about a girl named Georgia Brown, and they're like, oh, okay. Anita's, it's incredible. There's also an incredible live version because I think the music documentary film was called Jazz on a Summer Afternoon or something like that. But she performed at a concert called Jazz in the Park that was filmed. And so on the one hand, like it can be kind of enraging to watch because it cuts to crowd shots and like there's this amazing performance by one of the great jazz singers going on. And like there's all these empty chairs or like just people like talking to each other. And you're like, shut the fuck up and listen to Anita. The actual performance is incredible. And I think on YouTube, you can also find a clip that is both her Sweet Georgia Brown at that concert and Tea for Two. And it's remarkable to see her do Tea for Two live as well. So anyway, the music starts. And like I've got a few bars of guitar here. Two of those. So, but I'm far from the stage. I was like, oh shit. But when I was planning out the Anita number, I had thought to myself, if I time it wrong with the sultry walk to the stage, and then the band's about to kick in, I'm too far from the stage. I had planned, I will vamp, like I will do a comic like, oh no. And I will, do my little Jamie arms, put them up and flounce to the stage like really quickly. And it'll be funny. And so when the music started, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, okay, can I do that in 4-inch stilettos? And it turns out I could. And that alone turned out like, yeah, the crowd was impressed to watch me come in because let's be honest, I look incredible. And also I am in 4-inch stilettos. But when I ran to the stage, that was the moment where I was like, okay, this is not like the first one where like it's going well, but like the crowd's not fully engaged just because they're still filing in. Like I'm on the pre-show at a wrestling pay-per-view. This is like, okay, I've got them already. And so then from there, I whirled around. I did exactly all the things that I planned to do. And it went really, really well. If you've ever heard the song, I'm going to Cloud Your Eyes, Then Drown You to Death. I don't even know how important this was because if I kept my mouth moving and nobody could even see my lips that well because I got wig in my face, probably would have been covered. But there's a really complicated bridge in the sense that it's long. It's like 4 stanzas and every stanza is 4 bad things that sea creatures are going to do to you. So like it starts out pinched by a crab, strangled by an octopus, bitten by a shark, and stung by a jellyfish. And it just keeps going like that. So you get 16 different sea creatures. And as it goes, it starts incorporating like mythological sea creatures. And so then it's even harder. And they all just have a verb. And like the verbs make sense, like strangled by an octopus, bitten by a shark. But it's a lot. And not only did I remember all the words and mouth them correctly, I remembered every physical action that I planned to illustrate each verb as I made my way back to the stage. And I did it all, and it was all very engaging. And then I was feeling my oats. And so at the very end, at the very last, drown you to death, and the guitar drops out, I did a death drop. If you're not familiar, if you don't watch RuPaul's Drag Race, you don't go to drag shows, you don't know what a death drop is. What it looks like to the crowd is that you kick one leg up and fall just flat on your back like you're dead. And then you land with one leg sticking up. What's actually happening is less terrifying than that. I hadn't actually, I practiced exactly twice. And there was one night a couple months ago where Danielle was like, I'm going to teach you. Like she had looked it up. She was like, she explained the principles. And then she was like, now let's do it in slow motion. This was the day before picket duty started for the lockout, which turned out to be horrible because my, one of my legs was horribly sore the next day and I had to trudge back and forth for 2 hours. But we did it in slow motion, which turns out to be much harder than actually just doing it. But so I had a sense of the movements. And then twice this past week in bare feet on a carpeted floor, and with nobody there watching me, no pressure, I did a medium speed, let's say, death drop to verify. Because what you're actually doing as a performer is you are kicking up the leg that is going to be pointing up, but then you don't actually fall. You do a one-legged squat really quickly with your other leg. So basically like your knee is folding and your butt hits your cat. Like when your butt hits, when you fold, then you drop to your back and you tuck your chin like a wrestler so you don't bash your head. But you're not taking like a flat back bump like a wrestler because you were already at the ground when you started to fall. Like there's no real fall. This is not like getting power bombed. Yeah. So I thought a little bit about doing it. And then I hadn't told Danielle actually came. Danielle and my friend Laura, or our friend Laura came, and yeah, they I hadn't told them I was going to do it, so they were pretty pumped. In fact, people were, yeah, and I got a lot of very, very, very kind feedback from people, and it all felt great, ranging from just general like you look great. And I have my canned line now. Whenever I'm in drag and someone tells me that I look awesome or that I'm beautiful or whatever, I say, it's true and you're right to say it. But also like students who had seen the first show being like, so like really impressed with the progression. Like you must have put in some work. People who had only seen me for the first time being like, so like, how many years have you been doing this? One of the not one of the students who performed, but one of the students who performed, her partner did a number with her, and he or they, I'm not certain, don't want to assume gender here, but the partner spoke to me afterwards to literally bashfully be like, so is there like a secret to getting as good as you are that fast? And there is, I mean, I don't know if it's a secret, but like, if you think about it literally all the time, every day, and also put in a whole lot of work, that all helps. There's some extent of just like, he's a natural. The streams help. What I finally realized, because I think I gave some good advice to this young person at the time, but in the light of day, I'm going to have to send an email to the student to be like, got to tell your partner. Because I think the real answer to what me, because this was just when I watched the videos of my first performance, there were little moments where I was like, oh wow, yep, that worked. But for the most part, like most of the time when I was watching the video of my performance a year ago, it was like, and at this moment I become a man in a dress looking awkward. When I saw the videos last night, even the parts on stage where, because there were little moments where I was like, wait, what should I do with my body right now? But even though I knew I had those, when I watched the videos, it was like, no, that's Jamie Rose. And I think a huge part of the answer is that I conceived a character, not like a deep or complicated character. Jamie is, you know, a lot of my traits turned up and some of my traits turned down. And then, you know, I'm not a heterosexual woman, so I try to role play that a little. But yeah, I imagined a character and I've embodied that character, both in the context of doing these streams where I try to be her for hours at a time. And then as an extension of that, generally when I'm in drag, I try to never relax back into just being me in a dress. I try to always keep the girl body language, basically. When I picketed in drag this summer, one of my colleagues who I had just met, because I don't often meet law professors, when I showed up to picket in drag, she said, James, you are so feminine. She was like, you are beautiful. Like she wanted to stress to me, like, yes, you look beautiful and that's great, but like your movements, you're so feminine. And yeah, I think that's the secret, really. So like the streams have been hugely helpful. I'll be doing more of I don't know exactly when, because God, this has been like this. Danielle and I haven't even talked about doing one because there's not been a day where we have hours of time before I do a stream. But hopefully soon I'll start doing them again and hopefully then more regularly. But it was last year was in some senses more like impactful because it like changed me kind of fundamentally and changed my life, like altered my trajectory of what I thought were going to be my things that I cared about and wanted to do and where I belong in the world and all that stuff. So that stuff was, that was huge. But last night felt like my drag debut, and it felt like it went like, suffice to say, I've been to a lot of local drag shows in the past year, and I'm not saying this to shade anybody. Uh, I don't. I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 shows of the many that I've been to in the past year where I would have been like notably like the worst performer. And that's not to shade anybody. Just to say that like often there are new queens, and some of those new queens that I've seen, they're doing their thing. They're learning. I'm not trying to judge them, but like they seem like they've never even put on high heels before and stuff like that, or like they haven't thought about what they would do once they're up there. So I am very excited because we have a bunch of drag shows on our agenda coming up in the next few weeks. And so it's time for me to swallow the terror of approaching performing arts kids and asking if you can come play too, and start doing that. Very exciting for me. Oh, one other thing. In the drums and vocals part of the Anita song, if you've heard Sweet Georgia Brown, second line is 2 left feet, but oh so neat. And I had the idea of I'll pretend to trip when she says 2 left feet, and then I'll recover it perfectly for oh so neat, and then I'll like, wiggle my eyebrows or wink or stick my tongue out, something, it's a fake fall, but it'll get the audience. And so I practiced a lot to make the fake trip look convincing. So it didn't look, because I thought this only works if it's not obviously me just pretending to stumble a little. And then I just need to sell the recovery really effectively to get the idea across. And so I did it and I nailed it, but I didn't consider the fact that obviously, besides me, probably the only other person in the audience I can feel confident is familiar with this song is Danielle, and her only because I've made her listen to it a bunch in the last year. And then because it's a large venue and a long venue, there's a lot of people who weren't close enough to see the like facial acting I was doing when I recovered. And so it turns out, yes, everyone I spoke to who was right there when I did in front of me for the fake trip understood what was going on. And I asked a few of them, they're like, no, you tricked, like, I thought you were falling. And then I got it and then I realized, oh wait, the words, that's wow. But then Laura, our friend who was there, when I asked her if I got her with the fake trip, she was like, fake trip? Oh yeah, yes, you did. Yep. I was like, oh, so I didn't get you, like, I didn't sell the recovery to you. And she was like, oh no. Like, I was impressed because I thought that you tripped and saved it. I was like, okay, that's a note that I can work on for next time. All right. Let's play the Crimson Diamond. The thing we actually came here to do. But yeah, thank you for indulging me to the extent that you did. If you left, that's okay too, because what I promised you in the title and the category tag on the stream was not a whole lot of me talking about my nascent drag career and my performance last night. But I mean, look, there are plenty of streams in the world, so I'm sure you can watch people play games that are the games that I play without talking about my life. Presumably, if you're here, there's at least a little investment in hearing the story. I hope. Anyway, thank you for indulging me. Let's play the Colonel's Bequest. Not the Colonel's Bequest. You understand how I got, just in the moment, I clicked on the wrong thing and then read it aloud. I should have noticed because I was looking and I was like, total playtime. There we go. Total playtime, 16 hours. My Crimson Diamond playtime is huge because on multiple occasions now, I have left the game running at the end of the Sunday stream and then not touched my work computer, or my fun computer for a while. So I currently have 108 hours of playtime in this game, significantly more than the all-player average of 4 hours. Hello, Tashtari. Happy Sunday. It just, yeah. I got to really strongly resist the temptation here to be like, let me just reiterate all of the things. But yeah, it was very important for me. It was, there were things that didn't go perfectly, but there were plenty of things that did go perfectly, and the overall experience was outstanding and affirming in the sense of like, yes, okay, I have proof. Like, this is pretty solid proof now. I can put this whole package together. I can do this. I will be able to hold my own in the real world where I don't have a built-in audience who are like, hey, that's the teacher who's nice. Yeah. Feels good. Feels great. Okay. So, story thus far. We finished the game and I did okay. We have a similarly to the Colonel's Bequest, you get a breakdown that doesn't tell you literally what you didn't accomplish, like what you should have done that you didn't do, but does give you a broad sense of the things that you could have paid more attention to do better. So we reloaded and we're trying to do better. We want to know more about stuff. Huge problem here that there's a 2-week gap between when I saw all the stuff and now when we're playing. But I think we're going to be okay. I'm certainly open to the audience nudging me if I'm obviously forgetting to do something that I said, we got to make sure we do this on the way through. We've already got, like, I found the hair and all that. And last time on the first playthrough, but I didn't pull it off the tree, and it turns out that's what gets the flag where you know about it. So yeah, we've done some stuff, and now we're going to do better. Let's review the notebook. I think I know exactly where we are. Okay. Ask Jack about Margot's kit. Oh, yeah. And I found, Margot's kit's a big thing. Knowing the details about her health turns out to be part of what we're supposed to be doing here. And like, I can't remember what this proof was, but even though it was completely obvious last time who was meddling in the study, I didn't secure the proof, but I have this time. So it's coming together. There's something that I have to type. Is it size check? Yes, because we are at the measuring everyone's feet. I'll say this. I have incredible heels endurance and a general capacity to bear suffering. But also just, I do pretty well in heels in general. On my birthday, I was in like 4-inch stiletto boots, but I was in heels for 10, 12 hours on my birthday, on my 40th birthday, with like a 10 or 15 minute break in the middle, but that was it. And when I took them off, I was just like, there, that was fine. I will say, while those denim Steve Madden boots are remarkably comfortable, like shockingly comfortable for what they are, and I can move really well in them, by the time I had been wearing them for several hours and I finally took them off, I was like, okay, this is probably as much as my feet have ever hurt in my life. But I'm fine today, so we'll be okay. I need to figure out whose shoe made the shoe print on the jetty. Whose shoe prints are in the woods to the north of the jetty? There's shoe prints leading into the smokehouse. Who do those belong to? Mr. Richards wears size 12, so he definitely didn't make shoe prints on or around the jetty. The shoe prints on the jetty came from size 14 feet. Jack's are size 12 feet. This is a very well-written game, so I'm not criticizing Julia Minamata when I say that sentence is a comma splice. There should be a colon or a semicolon. I think I would go with a semicolon instead of a comma in that sentence. I know Jack didn't make these shoe prints, but who did? I know Nessa wears a size 8, but I need to rule out all the other guests before I can make a definitive conclusion. Kimi wears a size 6.5. She wasn't involved. What a relief. Corvus wears size 14. He could be involved, but I can't say for certain till I learn everyone else's shoe sizes. Albert could be mixed up in all of this, but I'll need to find out his shoe size before I can say for certain one way or another. Nathan could have made those shoe prints. I certainly can't rule him out. Have I seen Nathan walking in an area where he could have left shoe prints? I think so. Not too long ago. Okay, so this is not going to... We did pretty much an entire session on the mystery of the footprints in the past. It's not going to take that long. Because even if I don't perfectly remember where all of them are, I remember most of them are. And it just won't be as hard. Especially because the one that kind of... Hold on. Was this... I can't remember where it is. No. Obviously, wherever I saw Nathan was also outside. I think it might be just by the boathouse. But before we go in, let me just walk around and be like, Nathan's shoe prints? Maybe we'll find them. Hopefully. But I remember how to get Albert's. Oh, here we are. Wait, are those not shoe prints? No. I thought these might be representations of shoe prints. Okay. Is it just by the carriage house? So that'd be also convenient. Those are Kimi's, of course. Where did I see Nathan recently that he could have left shoe prints? Those are Corvus's. Oh, man, I do have a hard stop today. It's not for a while. So I earnestly hope that we're able to wrap up because I've been promising to start the anti-hero run of Quest for Glory for a while now. And I would like to get that started. Obviously, these are not Nathan's shoe prints. I know Nathan right now is inside of here, but I don't believe that. I think I already did this. Yeah. Oh, but I hadn't done that this time. Okay. So I should have read that text, but it's too late now. All right, shoe prints are a size 14. They don't belong to Evan. Now I've done the full investigation outside the smokehouse. It was remarkable how many times a chapter closed and I in my first playthrough, and I got the congratulatory message. Okay. What do we have here? Scuff marks, shoe prints, spilled liquid, broken glass. Yep. And, okay. Go back through the notes. Are there parts of those that, like, what haven't I looked at here? Okay. There's when I was given the job. I was supposed to dust a pamphlet for fingerprints. So did I not? Oh, man. So this is the 2-week thing. Look at the glass. Upon closer examination of the fingerprint you obtained from the overturned drinking glass, you conclude this is Evan's fingerprint. That makes sense. I did see Mr. Richards drinking out of this glass earlier. Sorry, drinking out of this glass earlier. Forget that we're playing Ontarian characters. Okay. Weird that I had not done that, but now I've done it. Evan's print on drinking glass. You peer at the shattered remains of what is clearly the crystal decanter from the dining room. I last saw this in Mr. Richards' hands as he was seated right here on this jetty. What on earth happened here? Oh my, the decanter would have needed to be picked up and thrown down with some force to break it like this. You've revealed 2 fingerprints on the remnants of the decanter. Evan's and Nessa's. Okay, so another thing that I obviously failed to do the first time was that after you get the fingerprints off of the things and then you examine again, that's how you get the information about the prints, I guess. Okay. Notebook. Have we now completed this? Not quite. What else is here? Jetty, scuff mark shoe prints. Examine those scuff marks. The direction of the scuff marks appears to lead away from the jetty and into the woods to the north. And these scuff marks were made by rubber-soled shoes. Mr. Richards wore rubber-soled shoes and boots. These scuffs were likely made by him. He definitely didn't jump or fall into this fierce current. Unless they dragged him backwards to get a good running start to throw him right into the middle of the river. But we know that didn't happen. It's more likely that Mr. Richards was dragged away from the river. Okay, no sound for that. And I don't think examining the shoe prints should provide new information right now. Upon closer inspection, you ascertain the shoe print came from a size 14 foot. Boy, I'm glad I don't have size 14 feet. I think technically slightly below average man-sized feet, but a lot of high heels, which are designed for women, top out size-wise at a 10, which is what I wear. So, at least in the mainstream offerings. Does anybody? I would not consider it a spoiler if someone said you just saw Nathan here, and also you did this before, and you should just remember. But in the meantime, let's go get Albert's footprint. And wait, what other things? Okay, so I did that part. Oh yeah, some pamphlet. Is the pamphlet in Margot's kit? Find it. I'm terrible at tuning into anybody's streams because, I'm terrible at doing my own streams lately, and it's all the same reason. My life is busy sometimes. There are worse things. I'm not trying to be churlish or complain. But gotta check out Julia Minimata's streams sometime. Be interested in whatever she's doing. I know some of it is sharing her process, doing some live art. I'd love to hear more. Okay. Am I remembering correctly that the pamphlet is in the drawer? Damn it. What I'm not remembering correctly is that open drawer is the command that does all this, but then doesn't advance to telling you about the contents of the drawers. Look in drawers? Yeah. Boom. One thing has something more. Box. Yep. Okay. Open kit. Dust. Oh, dut. Let's dut this pamphlet. You apply some powder to the cover of the pamphlet. Ah! You reveal a fingerprint. I should take a closer look at this fingerprint. I agree. Please. Fair enough. There. I was actually being too specific. The parser is not prepared for me to reiterate that we're using the tape if I'm also saying lift print from X. You can say lift print with tape when you only have one possible print to lift. I've got it. And then if I say examine pamphlet, upon closer inspection, you discern the fingerprint on the cover of the pamphlet belongs to Margot. And now I guess we have to do that for everything, right? Just to make sure. Wait. What are all the things here? Pamphlet, glass bottle. Yeah. Okay. Examine bottle. One's Margot, one's Jack. Might have already known that. Examine the metal box. Margot and Jack. Must have already known that. Whether it was because I had done that specific action. Oh, wait. Close the kit. And we'll exit. Okay. Oh, geez. Granted, Margot has passed away, tragically. That's a, you know what? Let's use a more active verb. Nessa and Corvus have murdered Margot. We should still close the drawers for her. Okay. So now, yep, I have credit for having successfully examined those prints. When I find Jack, I need to ask him about the kit. And then we're making progress. My thought is that finding the ruby brooch is how we can further test the rock salt. Because we didn't manage to confirm the presence of diamonds. Even though we also decided the ethical thing was to lie about the presence of diamonds anyway. And I'm probably going to do that again in the second ending. But this time we'll do it full in the knowledge that we are telling a lie. I'll throw it again that I have, my heart is completely open to being told where Nathan's footprint is. Hey there, Nancy. Full house, isn't it? If you're looking for the ranger, he should be in the bathroom across the hall, freshening up. Actually, hold on. We should be discreet here. Not only is this probably a sensitive thing for Jack, but it's also a private medical thing about a dead person. We can shut the door. I found a strange kit in Margot's vanity. Do you know anything about that? It was full of interesting things, including, but not limited to, yeah, I thought it was by the river. Okay, I just got to go back to all the screens and just successfully find it. A kit? I don't know anything about that. I found your fingerprints on the kit, Jack. Did you have something to do with Margot's death? Nancy does not beat around the bush. No, Margot had a medical condition, and I helped her take her medicine. But I never asked her what was in it. The writing on the labels is tiny. My eyes are bad. I couldn't read them and didn't try. I know. You know? You heard us? Jack goes red. Yes. Once. I didn't mean to. That probably sounded really suspicious, but Nancy, we were friends, and friends only. So I won't accuse him at the end of having an affair. Do you think a treatment's killed her? We were always so careful. Was it dangerous or poisonous? Jack, there's a pamphlet in Margot's kit that says the contents contain arsenic. She could have had a seizure due to an overdose. The tiny paper label on the ampule says that it contains arsenic. It's pretty deadly stuff. I didn't find your fingerprints on anything in the kit that warned about arsenic, though. So I think it's possible you didn't know that Margot's medicine could be poisonous if an incorrect dose was given. I didn't, I swear. The little glass ampules are single use. We couldn't have used too much. I didn't find any fingerprints at all on the ampules, which supports your claim that they were used once and then discarded. I think I may believe you, Jack. Well, it looks like Margot was getting regular doses of arsenical compounds. It doesn't appear her death was caused by an accidental overdose or intentional poisoning with her kit. I wonder what could have happened. Look, Nancy, Margot and me were friends. I never meant her any harm. The doses had to be injected, which she couldn't do by herself. They were extremely painful, too. Why don't you investigate people who didn't like Margot? Nessa, for instance. It's no secret those two didn't get along. And, of course, also, it's only mildly a secret that she did it. Because she's standing in the friggin' yard having an open conversation with Corvus about it. Jack may be onto something there. That's not a bad idea, Jack. Thanks. Go on, then. Nessa has been up to some suspicious activity, actually. I saw her pouring liquid out of a silver flask in the orchard. And she was having a furtive conversation with Corvus. They didn't want me to hear it. And in that furtive conversation, they literally said that they killed Margot with poison. But I managed. Okay. Tell Jack about Nessa. Nessa was a nicer person. I'd say the theft of a brooch was a real shame. You have any idea about the brooch? No. No. Okay. How did this update the notebook? Yeah. When the time comes, I'll tell Ranger. But okay, yes. We believe Jack that he didn't murder her. So what happened here, and the reason that the poisoning happened too fast, is that she was already getting a safe dose of arsenic. So when you combine the safe dose of arsenic with a deadly poisoning that is supposed to be happening subtly, yeah. Like, honestly, and it's, the early 20th century. I understand why their OPSEC isn't as serious, because, no one's recording us. We're not leaving an email trail. But, yeah. Kind of clumsily done to have the conversation here at all. I hear voices near this doorway. I wonder what they're talking about. Well, let's find out. With the help of the drinking glass, you can hear a conversation behind Albert's bedroom door. And what government agency did you say sent you, Mr. Respa? Your government sent me. The specific name of the agency escapes me. Commerce Place. Here, I have the documents. I trust they're in order. Ah, thank you. Let's see. Yes? Those look just fine. Of course they do. May I see your identification papers? There's a pause in the conversation. Even with the aid of the drinking glass, you strain to hear what comes next. See here, officer. I am a busy man, very busy man. I don't have time to root about in my documents to produce my identification papers at the moment. Commerce Place. Little writing lesson. A commerce place is when two independent clauses are separated using only a comma. This sentence is an example of a commerce place. If the thing on both sides of the comma could be a sentence on its own, the comma is not enough. You need a conjunction or stronger punctuation. Or make one of the clauses dependent by adding additional language so that it doesn't stand alone as a sentence. I am here because my government is doing a favor to your government, yes? Strong international relationships are vital, especially in the times to come. This guy's actually German, but because that's a secret, we're not doing a lazy German accent. And doubtless, you are aware of the current state of world affairs. I am. So if I were you, I'd take a step back and turn your attention to the dead woman in the cellar. Which is, after all, the reason you are here? Of course. Have a good evening to you, Mr. Respa. I've never heard that said that way. Have a good evening to you? So much for Canadian hospitality. Ah! Canadians can be hospitable. Oh, Miss Maple. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah. I would have sworn that guy was Austrian, but it turns out he was just a German doing an accent. Ranger's interested in Albert. At some point, I will tell what I know about Margot's death. Yes. So getting Albert's shoes is actually very easy, getting his shoe size. Took me a while, though. Ah! You let it slip for a moment. I forgot to lock my door again. I've had more than enough of your company, Nancy. Please leave me to my work. Please leave me to mine work. Mine work. I mean, my work. Sure thing. If you don't mind. Oh, wait, no. We're going to do this the one-step way. If you don't mind, just for my own reasons, I'm going to go through your shoes. Wait. Right. You'd think the shoes are in the drawer, but they're not. They're on the floor of the closet. Actually, now that I think about it, the floor of the cabinet part makes more sense as a place to put your shoes. The answer is that Albert has multiple pairs of shoes. So all you need to do to find out his shoe size is just look at the other ones. And for some reason, he doesn't find this bothersome. You can see a small number 12 marked on the insides of the shoes. Bada bing. Nathan's shoes. It's just literally this screen, the one that I walked through. I can even see the footprints. Jack was walking quite extensively on this part of the riverbank. These shoe prints are size 12. Oh, I thought it was auto-playing, but no, I had pressed the key. Shoe prints on this side of the bridge are quite large, freshly made. Considering I witnessed Nathan making these shoe prints, I can conclude he wears size 16. Fantastic. I've gotten everyone's shoe sizes. That should come in handy. And you know what they say about guys with big feet, ladies? They probably weren't involved in Evan's murder. Corvus wears size 14. He was involved in the altercation at the jetty. And Nessa and Corvus's shoe prints are all around the smokehouse. But somehow, Nathan and his big old feet was able to just walk right through there without messing anything up. He's got a light step when he wants to. Some of Nessa's hair was caught in a tree between the jetty and the smokehouse. That's definitely unusual. Yes. Nessa and Corvus were discussing something about a will. But whose? Whose indeed? Oh, but I remember overhearing a conversation between them about looking for Evan's and Nessa's father's will. Could this have something to do with that? I'm satisfied with my investigation so far. It's time to go inside the smokehouse and share what I've learned with Nathan. Got all the shoe sizes? But do I have to go back to the jetty for a minute to get a check mark that tells me I've thoroughly examined it? I'm not sure, but we can find out pretty easily. I am going to run to the washroom before we do that. So hang tight, gang. Brief intermission. I'll be right back with you. All right, we're back. Let's do this. Let's examine things again at the jetty to see if doing that with full knowledge results in a congratulatory note in the notebook that will make the game be nicer to me at the end when it's reviewing my overall performance. Examine the liquid. Surely you've figured out what the liquid is by now, Nancy. Liquid is yet to be absorbed into the dock. Even in the moonlight, you can see it's golden yellow and there's whiskey. Yeah, so we already did that. What a waste. Liquid on the jetty is definitely alcohol, not river water.
Mr. Rogers was here not that long ago. If he'd drunkenly fallen into the river, I'd expect to see watermarks on the jetty where his impact caused splashes. Besides the spilled alcohol, the jetty is dry.
2 notes? That could be a second note that says, wow, great job. You're so good at this. Nope. Not quite. Oh, we know everybody's shoe sizes now, so I bet this now. Upon closer inspection, he ascertained the shoe print came from a size 14 foot.
Fantastic! I've gotten everyone's shoe sizes. That should come in handy. And I'm satisfied with my investigation at the scene of Mr. Richards' mysterious disappearance.
But are you? Let's do all this one last time, just in case. Yeah, we already had that. Examine the glass. Examine the broken decanter. I think we're not. Okay. I think I've done what I can do. Okay. I won't update the save I just made again in case I want to come back to the part where I now know everybody's shoes, but haven't yet advanced the plot. Let's examine these shoe prints once more. I think I did this today, and therefore we're done. And also, Nancy has had enough dialogue to the effect. She knows about this stuff. Where is the brooch? I do need to figure that out. Margot probably is the one who stole it. Well, we can worry about that soon.
Nathan, I have a theory about what's happened to Evan.
I'm listening.
There are shoe prints all over the jetty, leading into the smokehouse.
Yes, I saw those, but I have no idea who those could belong to.
I do. I did a bit of detective work and learned the shoe sizes of everyone in the lodge.
You did?
I certainly did. And according to my findings, I've concluded that Nessa and Corvus dragged Mr. Richards off the jetty and into the smokehouse.
That makes a lot of sense to me, Nancy, but where is he now? That's what we need to find out.
You're absolutely right about that. Please, let me take a look in here and see what I can find.
You've done very well, Nancy. Maybe. Absolutely. Or the kind of student who would be like,
I'm not sure that you're explaining this problem correctly. Can I come up to the board and just have the chalk just for 1 second?
So far, I've come up empty-handed.
Thanks, Nathan. I'll try not to let you down.
If you find anything of significance, let me know as soon as possible.
Will do. Oh, one more thing.
Yes, Nancy?
Nessa seems to be desperately looking for something. I'm not sure what. She's made a mess of the study. There are papers all over. I think it has something to do with a will. I heard them talking about it in the parlor last night.
A will?
Come to think of it, they were discussing Evan's and Nessa's father's will. That was after dinner yesterday.
I need to go talk to Jack about all of this. Meet us in the study when you're finished here. You can tell us all about this ersatz will and the mineralogical report then. Good luck, Nancy.
Good luck to you, too.
Good morning, Jaffawat. Don't worry, everybody else. I'm not going to recap everything, but let me show you very quickly some of the pictures of my drag looks last night for show. This is not the complete look, but this is my sexy siren. I did I'm Gonna Claw Your Eyes and Drown You to Death from the Hades 2 soundtrack. Hold on. And then here's the whole look with hood. This was another show with the student society in my school. So with this outfit, Danielle and I found the exact limit of how sexy I was willing to look in front of the students. Couldn't go any further than this without being uncomfortable. Anyway, and it went wonderfully. It was a great time. What a magical evening. But here we are, having a magical early afternoon, or possibly morning, or possibly mid-afternoon, depending on where in the world you are.
Okay, what have we here?
An array of smoked meat and fish are hanging to dry and cure. A work table with a deeply scratched work surface is against one wall. See a big bag of salt, a barrel, large pot. Smokehouse is in disarray. Debris covers the table and floor. There might even be something on the wall.
Yeah, what happened here?
Okay, so hold on. Let's examine the pot for a moment. It's irrelevant. Make sure the barrel is also irrelevant. It is. I have what I need from the salt for now. I need that ruby brooch both to close off that mystery and to get something with a greater ohms hardness scale, or whatever it's called. Look at the wall. The rough stone walls of the smokehouse, much like the floor, have been blackened by smoke. You can just barely make out a symbol, low on the wall, under the table.
What could that be?
I don't know, Nancy. Let's examine it. The symbol appears to be a circle within a circle. The smaller circle is copiously filled in with the red substance.
Uh-oh. I wonder what the symbol is painted with. It's definitely not paint. It's sticky, drippy, red, and a bit chunky.
Well, geez, Nancy. What else can we do? I would probably smell it first, maybe, before I tasted it, but seriously questioning your own judgment. Well, we got to allow for some coagulation once the blood is out of the body. You definitely don't want the chunks in there while it's in your body. You crane your neck towards the wall. Stick out your tongue. You gingerly touch the tip of your tongue to the smokehouse wall. That's also not how I would do it. I would use my finger.
Oh, tastes like raspberry jam.
What a relief. Okay. Or if it tastes like raspberry jam. There are things that might seem salutary about that. You get a nosebleed and you just let it go. But that is not what your blood should taste like. Some things aren't supposed to taste like delicious raspberry jam. Examine the floor. I can't remember what else we need to look at here. Thanks to your loop, you can clearly see the yellow fibers on the floor of the smokehouse are from hempen rope.
The fibers have broken off into small twisted strands, possibly caused by friction. What or who could have done this? Could it be that Mr. Richards was tied up here in the smokehouse? Uh-oh.
You can also clearly see cookie crumbs on the floor.
These look like crumbs from the cookies that Jack was baking earlier. I even see bits of jam. There's a strange symbol painted on the wall. A circle within a circle, with the inner circle a solid red color. What could this mean? I've identified the substance that was used to paint the symbol. It's raspberry jam. Could that be significant?
It is, in a way that we should all be very grateful that Nancy is just going to figure out for us.
I should ask around, see if anyone can tell me more about this.
Okay. I guess it's just time to go and...
When I leave, there's no telling who could come here and tamper with the scene inside. I don't think I'm quite done with my investigation. I should examine the inside of the smokehouse more closely. I need a way to tie Nessa or Corvus to this scene. Finding fingerprints would be great, but there aren't many smooth surfaces in here.
Okay. Well. Nope. Can't do the table. Dust the floor? No. Dust the pot? Nope. Because the large pot is already blackened and caked with ash from years of smoking meat. Maybe like clean that pot now then. Was a good thought though. Thanks, Nancy. Dust the barrel? Okay, hold on. We have the work table, salt, barrel, pot. Is it just the walls? No. Is it actually typing work table? No. Can't open the barrel, and there's no need for me to do so. Frustrating part here, of course, being that I've done this before. Wait. Dash diary. That I don't know how I hadn't thought of that. That's brilliant. Shit. Have I found the information? Do I know that Evan was allergic to almonds, or can I only start finding out now? That is one of the things I need to verify. Because it was obvious to me, but not to Nancy last time. Jagged fragments of Jordan almonds scattered all over the table.
Why in the world would Jordan almonds be in the smokehouse?
I don't know. Let's examine those almonds. Inspecting the Jordan almond fragments through your loop, you can see conchoidal fractures in the candy shell that remind you of the sharpest obsidian.
Shiny like obsidian too. I know that Mr. Richards is allergic to nuts.
Yes, good, good. You and me both, baby. British, welcome. And that's a beautiful message. Obviously, I know that you're riffing on the Crimson Diamond, but it also feels appropriate after my wonderful drag experience last night. Once again, folks, not doing the whole recap, and you might have already seen this in Discord, British, but here is the outfit that I used for my number from Hades 2, my sexy siren look. Okay. We found the nuts. We've put together that, yeah, if you know someone's allergic to nuts and you've tied him up, you've got a real good way to threaten and or torture him. Or eventually murder him.
This looks bad. Mr. Richards is allergic to nuts. Could it be that Nessa was trying to weaponize them to use against him? Maybe that's why Nessa brought the Jordan almonds in the first place. She could have been scheming this entire time. Do I see an oily mark on one of the almond fragments?
You do, and thank you for signposting that for me, Nancy, but I had actually finally remembered. You carefully dust the Jordan almond fragments for fingerprints. And amazingly, you got a partial fingerprint for one of the larger pieces. Lift that print. Boom. Marked. And then do I have... Let's see. Is this a case where I must examine again? After comparing the partial fingerprint you obtained from the Jordan almond pieces, you conclude...
Nessa is the one who crushed these Jordan almonds in the smokehouse. Aha! I think I figured it out. Nessa crushed the Jordan almonds on the table. Mr. Richards is allergic to nuts. Could it be that she was trying to weaponize them against him? Yes. Maybe that's why Nessa brought the... Yes. You just said that, Nancy. Judging from the frayed rope fibers, Mr. Richards could have been tied up in the smokehouse after he disappeared from the jetty. I think Mr. Richards partially freed himself and painted a symbol with raspberry jam. He took care to conceal the symbol under the table. It could indicate where he was taken next. The symbol looks like the thumbprint cookies that I saw Jack baking, and their middles were filled with raspberry jam. I remember Jack saying that Mr. Richards likes to stash cookies in his pockets. And I did find cookie crumbs on the floor in the smokehouse. I know that another name for the thumbprint cookies is hallongrata. Hallongrata means raspberry cave in Swedish. So if Mr. Richards is trying to help people find him, then he's in a place that would be like a raspberry cave. Garnets! He must have been taken to the garnet mines. What's Nessa planning? I don't have a good feeling about this. I'll talk to Jack and Nathan. Maybe they can help. Well, giggling garnets, what's going on here?
It works. Yep. All right. Nancy's satisfied with her investigation, and so am I. Okay. If I remember correctly, we're awful close to being on rails to the grand climax. So I need to find the brooch if I'm going to find it. Otherwise, it feels like I've really done the things I needed to do. The key things I needed to do to get a better result in the end. I was also, I believe, the game nudged me to antagonize Nessa and Corvus more. Ask people about the symbols, although actually don't need to. She's figured it out. Okay. Maybe not. But nonetheless, I've got to find the brooch. Which I bet means I also need to find a key that I haven't found. Because does seem quite plausible that the brooch is just in this trunk. But let's, even if I've done some of these things before, let's try them out again. Look in the drawer. You open it. It's empty. Okay, close it. I doubt it's just hidden on the nightstand. Examine the bed. Examine pillows. Look. I doubt this is it. I'm just being thorough. No. Okay. No, Margot doesn't keep her secret key. Okay. So I have a small silver key that opened the drawers. So I've used that one. Would have been great if she was just hiding the brooch in there. This feels like the big gap right now in my ability to pull this all together. Look at the mantle. Fireplace mantle is a vase and a picture frame on it. Is the vase? Nope. The vase is empty. Worth checking. What if the key is on the back of the picture frame? Picture frame is empty. Search picture frame? No. Look in that wardrobe. How am I vis-a-vis my hard stop? I've got 90 minutes. Hopefully we can wrap this up, start the end here. I mean, I guess worst case scenario, if I've got enough time next week, we could just do both. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I can also imagine getting roped into a lot of errands on Sunday next week because
There's a Halloween night drag show on Friday that we're going to. And then we're going to drag brunch the next day. So I can imagine that Danielle won't want to do a bunch of errands on Saturday, but that's not going to reduce the overall number of errands we have to do. We'll see. Garment bags, folded up pairs of overalls. No. Might be asking too much for the key to just be easily located in this room, but we'll see. Oh. What about the objects on it? Variety of books on many subjects. Most of them are in French. I don't think this is going to work. No. Most of the books are in French. Probably belong to Margot. Yep. Okay. I was thinking, is one of these a false book? Wonderful gift that I was given once, long ago, by my ex's parents. It was given to both of us. Was a false book for hiding stuff. Her dad enthusiastically was like, "You can put your weed in there, man." And the specific book was the collected works of that had been turned into a, because it's not a gimmick, like it was made to be it was like some artisan took real books and had turned them into fake books. So it even has like until when you open it, like the lid is the cover of the book, but there's also like you got like the first 50 pages, and it's the collected works of Oscar Wilde, and I feel like Oscar Wilde would appreciate that. And you can read the Ballad of Reading Jail because it's right there at the front. Look at dress. Examine the dress. Hold on. What are the objects here? Boudoir transports you to fin de siècle. Sorry if that was not at all correctly pronounced. It occurred to me just as I was saying it. I've never heard anyone say that aloud. It's shiny, opulent, perhaps slightly tacky, and very, very pink. Mirrored vanity is the focal point of the room. Exotic perfumes hover in intensely localized clouds that you can almost see. Every movement stirs air currents to bring new scents to your nose. A doorway to the south leads to the walk-in closet. A doorway to the north leads back into the master bedroom. Okay, so it's not really calling my attention to anything in this room, really, besides the vanity. Wait, up. Yep, they're talking now. Listen. Nancy, you absolutely do not need to come halfway around the door to hear them through an open door. That hussy, that harlot, that strumpet. Where could she have hidden my brooch? I've looked everywhere. Nessa, we can't be hanging around much longer. I've finished writing the new will. You've gotten Albert's report. We're finished here. I know that, and I don't need reminding. Once we're finished searching here, we'll get back to Evan, make him sign. Shh. Who knows who's listening? The walls have ears. But the trees don't, I guess. Yes. Also, the fucking door is open. Nessa and Corvus is still rummaging about in the walk-in closet. The conversation appears to be over. Corvus wrote a new will? I should see about that. I bet he's got it stored in that satchel of his. Not getting into his satchel was one of the things that I'd not done. Can I just do it now? Let's find out. The scene resolves. Blowing this thing wide open. Talk to Jack or Nathan might be the point that the plot, kicks in and I can't continue the investigation. So let's put that off.
But let's see. If we go to Corvus and Jack's room, I think the satchel is just locked, right? Look at the satchel. Satchel looks like the type you use to carry important documents like fake wills and stuff. Examine the satchel. It's locked.
The key to the satchel has to be around here somewhere.
No, it doesn't, but thank you for that cue. It's entirely plausible that he carries the key to his, even if he was an on the up and up lawyer, it would be best practice for him to not leave the key to his important, confidential, privileged documents lying around. But especially when you're committing an enormous crime. And also the crime that you're committing provides the motive to tie you to an even more severe crime. After searching through all the drawers, you find moth-eaten socks, loose buttons, single shoelaces, other assorted bric-a-brac. You don't find a key of any kind.
I didn't find it on my first try, but I'm just getting started.
Yep. It really just wants me to look in the bedroom. Oh, I have an idea. Who knows? But I've got a thought. Let's test it. Just give Nancy a minute. If I were Nancy, I would at least do 2 drawers at a time, like the top and bottom at each column alignment. Yeah, but also
Some people hide small, important objects in their shoes.
you carefully examine the insides of Corvus's immaculate shoes. Corvus's shoes don't contain anything. No hidden objects here.
Not here either. I should keep looking.
What about the pillow? You methodically search in the bed, and even under the pillow for Corvus's satchel key.
I suppose under his pillow would have been obvious and not particularly secure.
Yeah, that's true.
Where's the satchel key? There are only so many places it could be.
It's true. Search the desk, Nancy. The writing desk doesn't have any drawers, which simplifies your search somewhat. Still, you meticulously examine every surface for hidden seams that might indicate a secret compartment. You rap the wood with your knuckles, but the desk is built solidly. It is as it seems.
It's a lovely desk, but it doesn't contain what I require.
You also thoroughly examine the chair beside the writing desk. It also yields nothing.
I'm not about to give up yet. Not until I'm satisfied I've performed a thorough search.
Examine the wastepaper basket. I mostly think it might be under it. You gingerly sift through the contents of Corvus's wastepaper basket. You don't find the satchel key.
I'm satisfied with my search for the key to Corvus's satchel. I don't think it's here. He's got to be carrying it. Now the question is, how do I get it?
Well, that's an excellent question, Nancy. Get the key from him somehow. Also, just cover your tracks, Nancy. All right. Bet this is not the answer, but does Corvus want to make it?
Here's Corvus. Now, how do I get the satchel key from him? He must have it in one of his pockets.
Okay. Well, let's look at Corvus Maybe if we have a key-shaped outline in one of his pockets, that helps us. Corvus Shaw is nattily dressed. Hold on a second. Yeah, just literally means what it seems like in context. Dashing. Looks sharp. Because I was just clicking around some windows, I was reminded of when Dashtari thought that Nancy was exclaiming garnets. Maybe if we get another Nancy Maple mystery, she'll pick that up. Yeah, it like today, it just sounds like Natalie. Like feels like that should be a criticism, like your clothes are like disheveled or something. But no, means sharp, immaculate, classy. Striped vest, metal buttons. Seems like a very clever sort. Quite a sharp tongue. You can see why he gets along with Nessa so well. Corvus doesn't look quite as natty as he usually does. You might even go so far to say that he looks slightly disheveled. His vest is missing one of his metal buttons, which we know. Oh, I hadn't. Okay, good. Glad we've sealed that detail. Look at the button again. Just in case that. Okay. Well, let's talk to Corvus. Mr. Shaw. Not right now, Miss Maple. Can't you see we're busy? Yeah. I think because we've been in this house for this lodge for 2-3 days at this point, or at least one full day. I feel like you don't have to know Nancy that long before you're just like, yep, every now and then Nancy goes like this and then it goes, aha. Okay. Hug him. As much as I want to get the satchel key out of Corvus's pockets, I don't want to try getting it that way. I'm sure I can figure out an alternative method. Okay, so good. I mean, good. Like, I don't want Nancy to have to do that. But also, I think here the question becomes, am I holding anything obvious that I could spill on him by mistake? Is there coffee in here? Nope. What is this? Crystals that don't dissolve in water. Bizarrely. Yeah. Feels like the two big things left to do are get the brooch and really solidify our case here. All right. To the kitchen for a moment. Or wait, does this pitcher have water in it? Pitcher is fine where it is. Okay. I can take a hint. But yeah, feels like getting Corvus dirty somehow. Wait a minute. This is probably not the answer.
Don't you dare touch a thing. I'm still looking for my ruby brooch, the one Margot stole. Oh, well, I can help you look for it.
You know what? I'd be a fool not to try. Because that was obviously the end of my hug Corvus scheme. But maybe I'm overinterpreting. Nancy's okay pickpocketing. She just doesn't want to do it in a way that involves faking affection for this murderer, dude.
Oh, well, I can help you look for it. Not on your life. You'll just pocket it for yourself. Get out of here.
Nope. You lack both the dexterity and the temerity to perform that action. So how could I get it from him without theft? Well, not at all. Unless, for some reason, you think it's not theft to
get him to somehow change his clothes and then steal it from his clothes. Okay, without theft. Nope. Yeah, like an RPG that was putting some serious work into the role playing elements. Temerity would be a great stat. Hero U. 2026. I will play Hero U finally. Okay. Well, we don't want to steal. Yeah, my mind went to Disco Elysium. But I think you could do it even in a more traditional RPG. As long as it was a heavily choice-based RPG. You can then have temerity as like a limiting factor on dialogue choices or different things you could try. Okay. I'm going to return to the kitchen for a moment. I had a wonderful time. I streamed it earlier this year. It's the only time I ever played it. And, well, it can't be possibly just you because it's a pretty unique game. So it can't possibly, there's got to be plenty of people who it's just not their cup of tea. It really rang the bell for me. I thought it was good. I had a good time. All right, the cookies are put away. But hold on. Can we just do this with water? This is an artless way to go about this. Wait, sorry, about this. I forgot that I'm Canadian. Sip water, pretend to cough, spit it all over Corvus. I don't think this is going to work, but it could. Okay. What have you done? You clumsy girl, you've soaked me through. I'm so sorry, Mr. Shaw. I'm such a lummox. Fortunately, I've packed a second set of clothes, and it looks much the same as this. Julia, I doubt you're watching the stream or will ever watch a playback of it, but kudos. That's I like that. That's good lampshading. Well, she did it from the back, so similar idea, but going even further. Hurry up and change, then. You need to help me find my brooch before... Well, anyway, get back here quick. Right. Excuse me, ladies. Corvus exits the room to change his clothes. Not knowing what to do, you stand awkwardly, wait for him to return. All the while, Nessa continues to go through Margot's things. Soon enough, Corvus returns, clad in identical vest and trousers. There, you see? It's like it didn't even happen, but do keep away from me, Miss Maple. I don't have another fresh set of clothes. Of course, and again, I'm very sorry. Just stay out of our way, won't you? Will do. Gee willikers. Golly gosh. Galloping garnets. Great minds, my friend.
Earlier, when I was trying to come up with a hard G verb and I came up with giggling, I was like, it's not quite it. That's the direction. Well, thank God for this dumbass being in such a hurry. He didn't think to take his key out of his clothes. Oh, you know what? Let's get a little OPSEC going here. Whose clothes would you like to examine? Well, I don't know. What do you think, parser? Do. Corvus' clothes are finely tailored, kept immaculately clean. The vest and trousers are decidedly damp. Feel a twinge of guilt. I wouldn't feel that. It's classically Canadian, I guess, but I would kind of feel like he had it coming with the murders and the fraud and stuff, and being a jerk.
Oh, one of the metal buttons on the vest is missing.
The guilt is somewhat assuaged by the gratification you feel, finding the key to Corvus' satchel in his left vest pocket. Bam. We were explicitly discouraged from searching Margot's corpse like that, or maybe I just didn't type the right way, because maybe she just has her key in her fucking pocket. We'll investigate in a moment. It's locked. Okay, so look in will combine open and search, but it will not include unlock. You can't unlock the satchel. You don't have the key because I didn't type the words take key. So let's do another test on the look in verb command.
I'll just borrow this key for a little bit.
And yes, let's cover our tracks and put the key back. Nope. You unlock the satchel. You open Corvus' satchel and eagerly examine its contents. Aside from pens and a few personal items, there are 2 documents that draw your eye.
There's a mineralogical report in here signed by Albert.
So yes, it turns out the other people bribing Albert for a fake report were the people who have an interest in there definitely being diamonds here.
There's also a will in here. Uh-oh.
Well, let's examine the report. After carefully studying the report, you're surprised to conclude that despite the gorgeous penmanship and Albert Respa's florid signature, it's extremely poorly written.
This is nearly nonsense. It reads like Albert inserted mineralogical words at random without knowing their meanings. And he's trying to hide this fact with fancy language.
Although he does have fancy luggage too, I'm sure. I was about to make a joke about it. Well, he had ChatGPT do it. But in fairness to ChatGPT, we must acknowledge that sometimes when you are producing the most, likely string of tokens that become words, sometimes you do use the words properly.
Even still, I have a hard time believing that this report was written by a mineralogical expert. The fine paper and fancy seal might fool a casual observer or harried government officials eager to rubber stamp stacks of paperwork off their desks. The report does conclude that the land on which the Crimson Lodge is built is rich with diamonds. Interesting. Wait a minute. I overheard that conversation between Nathan and Albert in the boathouse. Nathan paid Albert for a mineralogical report that states that there are no diamonds in Crimson. Something fishy going on here. I should ask Nathan about the report I found. I wonder what he'll say about it.
The last will and testament details what should happen to Evan Richards' property and possessions upon his death.
This document says that everything goes to Nessa. That's surprising, considering their strained relationship.
Your eyebrows raise as you reach the end of the will. It's been signed by Corvus Shaw.
with Nessa Crabbe signing as witness. There's a blank line under which is written Evan Richards. It appears that Evan has yet to sign this document. No, I guess it's probably just a handwritten will. I was going to say, shouldn't he be traveling with a typewriter? No, probably not at this time. The entirety of the will appears to be in Corvus's handwriting. This looks pretty fishy to me. Okay, what's the state of this in the notebook? Just recovered the will. Wait, recovered it? Like, is it in my inventory now? No. Are they suggesting I do that? I mean, why not? Fuck up their plans. You remove the will. I'll just shift some papers around to make it look less obvious that anything was taken. Maybe this is the answer to the having a better outcome in the action sequence. They get all distracted. Ooh, the will's not here. Very clever, Nancy. Very clever. Do I need the contract too? Or report? Yeah, why not? Gather evidence. Hopefully, Corvus won't notice that this is missing. There are still plenty of papers in the satchel. Comma splice. I mean, honestly, like, when we speak out loud, we're probably constantly saying sentences in ways that contain comma splices. Or that feel like they should if you write them down. But, I mean, you just put a semicolon. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is not me being hypercritical of Julia Minamata's writing so much as it's just me not being able to turn off that part of my brain. Close the satchel. Lock it. Return Corvus's key. Put the key in the clothes. There. He slipped the satchel key back into Corvus's vest pocket. Okay. This plot is so thick right now. Why did I come down here? Oh, I remember. To quickly test the does Margot have the key and I just didn't use the right words to look for it theory. Because Margot doesn't really seem like the kind of person who's really doing these kind of things at a high level of subterfuge and secrecy. You can imagine her stealing a thing and just be like, it is locked in the trunk. Margot, or not, Nessa will not find it here. Okay. Did I literally just not say examine pockets? You don't find anything else. That probably is enough to answer my question. I'm not sure. For now, we'll leave the poor woman alone. Interesting to me that they don't cover her face with the sheet, but that's up to them. Okay. Really gotta figure out where the key might be. And is there anything? Oh, yeah, because got to get that brooch. That feels like the big important thing to do before advancing the plot. I heard Danielle shuffling around, and I'm wondering if she's going out to get the groceries or anything. So she check on that, and I also got to use the washroom again. So let's take a brief intermission, and maybe we'll find that key when I come back. Hopefully. What if it's under the rug in Margot's bedroom for once? Something's under the rug. We'll find it. Hang tight. Successful intermission. Because Danielle was not going to get the groceries, nor was she doing anything that she required my assistance about. But I scored good guy points for checking proactively, even though I was in the middle of a stream. Sweet. Pardon me. Okay. So, what did occur to me was you don't find any more objects in Margot's pockets. The object was a key because of the vanity key. So, sure. Makes sense that there was not another key to be found there. So, is there something back here? Do I get a different look back here? No. Examine the screen. Nope. Okay. Wait. Are they still in here tossing her room? I feel like it's probably not in here. What if it is? They're not going to let me touch anything. Is there a time when I can come in here and do my own search? It would be very silly if they're just missing it. Am I 100% sure I can't do any examining because of Nessa? Yeah.
Okay. So the hope then is that, well, if it's going to turn out to be in there, my hope has to be that they'll get out of there before we are put on rails, which I think that I will get a chance. But I'm not sure that that's it, right? So what if Margot did have a clever idea to hide it in the very room she stole it from? Probably not, but okay. You never know. Okay. I'm the vibe I'm getting is no. She'll look in the drawers. They're empty. I appreciate that the mirror is about 1 or 2 frames behind Nancy. Leftmost cupboard is empty. Okay. Let's just. This doesn't feel like it's bearing fruit. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find Nathan right now, talk to him, and we're going to, if it turns out that there's no chance to search Margot's closet, because maybe it's a 2-step thing. Maybe they're looking for the brooch and not finding it because I will find the key to the trunk there. Although they should have been able to put that together too. Or maybe I'll find it. But then if I don't, then I'll load back and I'll say, all right, somebody, give me a nudge. Maybe we can still get this thing all done today when I have to finish in 55 minutes. Per my pledge to Danielle. Not least because this evening, we're doing Friday Night Frosthaven on a Sunday evening. So this is a doubleheader stream day. And then immediately after we finish Frosthaven, I have to do my fantasy basketball league draft. And I'm the defending champion in this league. Rex, welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh man, it has been rough. I have missed my streams. It's I believe it is the case that since mid-September I've canceled, since like September 5th. I don't know. Since the lockout resolved, I think I've canceled the majority of my scheduled streams. It's been busy. It's been rough. So whenever I get a chance to do the thing I like to do, I'm happy. And all the better when people show up. Sorry, everybody else who's already here, but check it out, Rex. I had a drag performance last night. It was another one of the student shows where I'm the good guy faculty member showing up. But it was much different this time because I brought it, both in terms of having a couple of wild looks, this being the highlight one. If you've played Hades 2, my number was I'm going to cloud your eyes and drown you to death by Scylla and the Sirens in Hades 2. So I did this siren look. Anyway, it went wonderfully. And I have got, I feel the wind at my back for my drag career, which hopefully will also include more Jamie streaming here. We've been very busy. So even when I've been doing the streams, we've never once been doing them with like 2 to 2.5 hours of prep time in advance for me to get in drag. What are you going to do? There are worse things in life than being busy. It's a really good game. It's I would say of the 2 long-awaited indie classic massive hit sequels that finally came out in the last couple of months, I think Silksong is the better sequel because I feel like Silksong is like elevated Hollow Knight, and I feel like Hades 2 is more Hades, which is excellent. I'm not really trying to criticize the game when I say that, but yeah. Okay, where's Nathan? Found him. Oh, do these guys... Have I triggered this thing to happen by successfully learning stuff? Let's find out. This is Evan Richards' well-appointed study, etc., etc. Jack's here. Nathan is here. That's it. Okay. I need to ask Nathan something specific. Oh, right. I have this mineralogical report that Albert wrote. What do you think of it? Nathan looks a bit shocked. May I see it? Where did you get this? You hand the mineralogical report to Nathan. He scrutinizes it intensely. He looks upset. Nancy, may I keep this? I'm afraid not, Nathan. There are awfully strange things going on around here, and this is part of it, I'm sure. You see, I overheard your conversation with Albert in the boathouse. I know you paid Albert to prepare a mineralogical report that states the exact opposite of this one, that there are no diamonds in Crimson. That is a comma's place. That comma should be a colon. After reading this report, I have my doubts that Albert is as qualified a mineralogist as he claims. Although his kit was legitimately high quality for his role. Not to mention, the fieldwork he conducted seemed more focused on a single irrelevant specimen and nothing else. Something fishy is going on around here. So, if you don't mind, I'll be keeping this report, at least until I figure out what's going on. Nathan reluctantly returns the report to you. Nancy is so forthright and chipper that she's like, I know that you're also trying to commit fraud. But I think the other fraudster is worse, so I need this evidence. Very well. I suppose I'll have to trust you. You can. I promise. Excuse me. I need to keep looking for Evan's will. It's vitally important that we find it. Yeah, honestly, this is the moment where she should be like, when that asshole goes to sleep, I'm just going in his room tonight, taking his kit. Hey, Nathan, check this out. What? I found this interesting document in Corvus's room. What do you think about it? Interesting. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, no hurry, Jack. Go all the way around the desk. Show Jack and Nathan the last will and testament that you obtained from Corvus's satchel. What can you tell me about this document? Jack's face goes pale. I gotta be very careful with this gimmick. I'm gonna accidentally give myself the oot accent instead of the more appropriate East Coast oat. Like it rhymes with boat. Also wrong, but not stereotypically upper Canadian. Jack's face goes pale. Nathan's eyes widen. Let me see it. Jack's eyes travel further down the page and rest upon the very bottom, where Nessa and Corvus have signed their names. His eyes narrow. Nathan's mouth sets into a grim line. I see. Where are those shysters? Nessa and Corvus? I last saw them upstairs in Margot's walk-in closet. I see. Excuse us a moment, Nancy. When you get the good ending, it just ends here. They go upstairs. Jack goes upstairs. He kills them both. Nathan helps him cover story. Nancy plays along. You hear Nathan and Jack's heavy footsteps as they hurry down the hallway and up the stairs. They aren't gone very long before you hear them returning to the study. They're gone. here's a bank shot thing, and I'm not going to share all the details. But the inspiration for the voice that I'm doing for Jack reminded me of a story once where I saw the guy, the specific guy in real life. I hadn't seen him in a while, and I saw him in IKEA, and I shouted, "Hey!" Guy's name excitedly, and he looked up at me like he turned around like he was scared. This is a big guy too, and I went up and I was like, shake his hand, and he seemed like really, really caught off guard, which is weird because he's like a really friendly guy. So what's going on here? And I talked to him for a few minutes. Kind of, you enjoying retirement? How are things? And he got calmer and calmer as we were talking. And then just as he walked away, he was like, James, I just want to say, like, thanks for saying hi. I was like, that's kind of weird. And I went back over to my friend, who was Rich's wife, Hannah, who I was shopping with. And Hannah was like, so how do you know Guy? And anyway, it turned out that the story behind this guy's retirement was that he had been charged in a historical sexual assault case. And so, when I shouted his name in a public place, he thought I was going to attack him or something. And also, I do, we should let the system play out and people are innocent until they're presumed guilty. But I also probably wouldn't have made a public show of loudly being like, look, I am greeting this guy and shaking his hand. Anyway, later when the actual case resolved and he was acquitted and all the details came out, I felt better about the situation. I'm not going to get into it, but suffice to say, it was a little like, oh, okay, wow, that's a unique experience in my life. It looks like they left in a hurry. Margot's walk-in closet was in shambles. I wonder what they were doing.
They were looking for Nessa's ruby brooch. Margot took it.
Ah, I'm not surprised.
You're not?
As you already know, Margot asked me to keep the silver steins for her until Nessa was gone for good. She didn't give me any ruby brooch, though. She must have hidden it somewhere.
I remember Margot saying something about concealing the ruby brooch in her walk-in closet. Nessa was on the right track.
I didn't remember that, but okay, that affirms me.
I wonder if she found it.
We need to keep looking for Evan's will. Let's hope he has one.
Let's hope.
Let's find it. Also, so I know about the steins, but was there something more I was supposed to have done with them in the original go-through? I can't recall.
Margot told me that Nessa's ruby brooch is hidden somewhere in here. Nessa tore this room apart looking for it. I wonder if it's still here.
Okay. Well, they tore the room apart. But okay. We know what we saw them looking at. So let's see if let's try the other things first. The wardrobe is full of feather boas in a rainbow of colors. It's just her boa wardrobe. Can I search amongst them? No. Can I examine the boas themselves? And one of them has a brooch concealed in it.
Feathers look soft and colorful. Margot has one for every occasion, it seems.
Look at this dress here.
The dresses are beautifully constructed from fine fabrics. Is there a false bench? Like the seat lift up. Like a piano bench. It's got all the music inside. Sure would make Nessa and Corvus seem pretty stupid if they didn't find it. You look under and around the fancy bench. Nothing is stuck into its underside, nor is anything secreted in the plush upholstery. Okay, but the game agrees that that was a good thought for me to have. False mirror? No. Can we look in the mirror just to... It's you, all right. Hold on. This would not really be appropriate. But I'm curious. Can we play dress up? I don't think Margot would appreciate me parading around in her things. Besides, I have the panache to pull off wearing one. Oh, give yourself some credit, Nancy. This is a closet? No, that goes back to the wardrobe. I doubt it's these bags down here. Hold on. Shoes on the floor, clothes pulled off the hangers. What about the hats on the top? Because they were very low. They were looking low. Which hat would you like to examine? That strongly raises my... Okay. One of these has the fucking brooch. Is it the blue hat? Which, Nancy, I understand wanting to respect the dead, but maybe when this is all resolved, we can talk to Evan about how that blue hat would really complete her outfit. You take the blue hat down from the shelf, mannequin head and all. The red silk rose on the blue hat is exquisite. The stitching is minute and even. You can see why Nessa didn't bother inspecting all the hats. They're up high and hard to reach. No, that's not a good reason, Nessa. That's fucking stupid. Especially when you have a tall guy with you. And the mannequin heads are surprisingly solid and heavy, not hollow, leaving no room for hidden items. But... Okay. Shit. Was it a teal hat? Yes. You take the teal hat down from the shelf, mannequin head and all. Also, both Nessa and Nancy now have the option of taking the hats off the mannequin heads. Bright teal color of this hat isn't faded in the slightest. The underside of the brim is the same gorgeous hue. The mannequin heads are made of painted hardwood, so the brooch couldn't be stuck into them to conceal it. Merely shaking the mannequin head is all that would be required to check if the brooch was balanced under one of the hats. I can't tell if that's telling me to type shape, like shake head. Let's examine all of them and then try some other verbs. I understand enough about the creative process to know that Julia Minamata did not write all of this text because the hats are the wrong thing to be searching. I wasn't born yesterday. The green hat is a lot like yours, except newer, made of finer wool. Your arms are starting to ache from straining them to their limits to reach the hats. You wonder if your efforts will prove fruitful. You're starting to doubt it. Don't give up, Nancy. Take the yellow hat down from the shelf, mannequin head and all. And again, if your arms are getting tired, just take the fucking hat down, especially since you've concluded that these are all solid mannequins. So you could just like move each of the heads a little and you'd notice if one of them was lighter or there's a rattling sound. Take a close look at the yellow hat, admiring the quality workmanship. Maybe one day you'll own a hat as fine as this. Maybe like later today, if this all works out. With a grunt of effort, you wrest the last mannequin head down from the shelf and examine the hat closely. Oh! Pinned to the inside of the last hat you inspect
Oh, is this actually set up this way? Like, is it not? You gotta search the right hat. You gotta search all 4 hats. Otherwise, it's interesting to write different sets of text for the same hat, because there'd have to be one that says, "Wow, you got lucky. It's the first one." Pinned to the inside of the last hat you inspect, you find Nessa's ruby brooch. Margot had cleverly concealed the pinned part of the brooch between the hat and its band. You carefully unpin the ruby brooch from the hat before returning the mannequin head and hat to the top of the shelf.
I'm glad I found it. What do I do with it now?
Let's rub some salt on it, Nancy.
Guess I'd better find Nessa and give it back.
I don't know, Nancy. I guess that's the honest thing to do. It's a fancy ruby with an intricate gold setting.
Rubies have a Mohs hardness of 9, one of the hardest minerals around. Besides diamonds, of course.
So wait, am I remembering our little geology test, or is this the only rub crystals on brooch?
I need to confirm the brooch's cabochon is a ruby before I start using it to test other samples.
Okay. You admire the rich, much coveted pigeon blood, deep red hue of the ruby mounted in the brooch. Thanks to your loupe, you detect faint rutile inclusions. And I bet those are what tells us it's a ruby.
But the gem is eye clean. That means the inclusions are invisible to the naked eye. The inclusions are also called silk. Some of these faint lines might not be inclusions after all. They look a bit oily.
Indeed. You dust the brooch,
and you're shocked to discover not 1, 2
clear fingerprints. I wouldn't be that shocked. It seems plausible that there's a Nessa fingerprint and a ruby. It was my first. It's new to me. Okay. Lift prints from brooch. You get the brooch. You carefully apply a bit of tape. The 2 fingerprints you reveal on the ruby brooch. Well done. Thank you. I felt like I was doing well. And then examine brooch again. You've revealed 2 clear fingerprints on the ruby cabochon. You compare them to the fingerprints you've obtained from everyone in the lodge.
One of these fingerprints belongs to Margot, which comes as no surprise. She admitted to stealing Nessa's brooch. The other fingerprint belongs to Jack. I should ask him about this.
Do I have to rub the brooch on the plate first? Well, you're reluctant to potentially damage Nessa's ruby brooch with a streak test, but I'm not, personally. That's Nancy and her conscientiousness. You reason that if it is indeed a ruby, you wouldn't be damaging it at all.
Because rubies are harder than unglazed porcelain, they would scratch the streak plate, not the other way around. I'll try it in an inconspicuous place at least.
Like here. The closet within a closet. You perform the streak test as carefully as you can. Though with this procedure, a rather firm hand is required. The ruby in Nessa's brooch easily scratches the streak plate.
Whew! I guess it's a ruby after all. When a specimen is harder than a streak plate, which has a Mohs hardness of 7, it is said to have no streak, or a colorless streak. Rubies have a Mohs hardness of 9, much harder than streak plates. The only harder gem is diamond, which has a Mohs hardness of 10. The rutile inclusions that I've examined in this stone are characteristic of rubies too.
I'm curious. Yep, it's a ruby. You don't have that right now. What are they called? Some of the crystals. Okay. Rub salt on the brooch?
I couldn't possibly risk damaging Nessa's ruby brooch by performing a scratch test. The cabochon is too lovely.
What the fuck, Nancy? Okay. Do we just literally have to hate Nessa even more before Ruby's like, before Margot, Nancy? It's like, oh, that's a good thought, Tashtray. Maybe not. Or maybe I'm getting the wrong verbs. This might be, I think we're going to be doing the climax of the Crimson Diamond quickly next time. But let's see. Let's see if we can get us all lined up. Why? I mean, one thing I can do is just, I won't update that save anymore, so that if the answer turns out not to be develop enough distaste for Nessa that you don't mind testing the diamond on her ruby. Then yeah, we should be good. Where might Jack be right now? I'm not sure. Let's check the room where he's staying. No luck. Did he go back to preparing the room for the Mountie? There hasn't even been the meeting.
Oh, pardon me.
Good evening, Miss Maple. I'm just getting settled in for the night. I guess now is as good a time as any, maybe, to...
Murdoch. Here's my chance to tell an officer of the law about what's happened to Margot. I should tell Ranger Murdoch about my investigation. Margot's illness and death seem quite suspicious. I should tell him about that. Good evening, Ranger Murdoch. How are you settling in?
Notice there were no asterisks. She said all of that stuff out loud in full voice. Oh, hello, Miss Maple. I'm settling in well. I had no idea there were so many folks at the lodge tonight. Tell about Margot?
I wish I had got to know her better. Now that she's gone, she'll always be a mystery to me.
I know the feeling. I'm sorry. I should tell the ranger what I've learned. Yeah. You're right.
Ranger Murdoch, I'd like to discuss my investigation with you. I should have closed the door.
Your investigation?
Yes, into Margot's suspicious death. I smelled garlic on Margot's breath. Do you think that might be significant? She didn't ever eat garlic either.
That could be significant. We'll look into it.
I have a sample of Margot's hair. Would it be possible to run tests on it to detect the presence of toxins?
Yes, absolutely. We can do that. Hold on to the sample for now. Okay, I mean, maybe you could take control of the... It's... Okay, we don't have the same forensic standards. It's 1914.
I should tell Ranger Murdoch about Margot's illness.
You could just do it, Nancy. Actually, you know what? Discussing the private health matters of the deceased and also a murder investigation where the murderers are at large and possibly in the home lodge still. You tell Ranger Murdoch what you've discovered so far.
I've examined Margot's body and made some interesting observations about the state of her health before her death. It's fairly unusual that Margot would have this type of skin lesion. They don't look like bug bites or anything else I can easily identify.
Interesting. What about Margot's hair?
I don't think allergies would account for the poor condition of Margot's hair. It's brittle and seems to be falling out, creating thinning and balding areas on her scalp. But I'm no doctor. Maybe taking some of her hair to a laboratory for analysis would be fruitful. I have a sample of Margot's hair. Would you like to have it?
Good work. But I don't have any way to properly store that sample right now. Okay, I'll just keep it in my fucking pocket with all this other junk. Save it for now, would you please? Or as a visit at a later time.
Of course.
You mentioned a garlic scent around the body?
Yes, I noticed that near Margot's mouth.
That could indicate another number of things, the most likely of which is that she ate garlic shortly before her death.
But I know that Margot never ate garlic and Jack never served it to her. So I have no idea why a garlicky smell would be in or near Margot's mouth. Margot suffered from aches and pains that had gotten more acute recently. That would be suspicious.
Very well observed, Miss Maple. You would do well as a detective.
Thanks.
Your findings are very helpful. I'll collect my own evidence, make my own inquiries. Thank you very much. You can leave this with me now.
You're welcome. I'm happy to help.
So did the game not want me to tell him about all the other evidence I've collected yet? Yeah? Let's try. No. The game won't even dignify that with a response. So I'm going to take it as a hint. I know when I'm not wanted. Okay. I'm going to talk to Jack. But the case of the brooch, got to find him to do that. I don't think I ever got into one of those two trunks in there. But I'm also not sure it matters. This is just the washroom. But, you know, maybe we could just walk in on Jack. Should have locked the door, man. Can I just ask you a few questions while you're sitting there? We know Jack's not in his room, right? Right. Okay. Obviously, it's supposed to be Snickers. But I'll accept what I'm able to type. No. What happened? Was that a global experience? Did my audio go crazy for everybody? Or was it just Cedric's connection? It's a good sign if you're back and not saying, hey, the audio is still going crazy. These guys, oh, wait, I know where the fuck they are because they came back here. Perfect. Glad to hear. Hey, Jack, do you mind if I confront you about something here?
Look, Jack, I found Nessa's ruby brooch. Huh. Well, how do you like that? You're pretty good at finding things, Nancy.
Oh, wow. I think it's Twisted Metal 2. Does anyone remember on Twisted Metal 2, the soundtrack, they have a remix of Dragula by Rob Zombie, and it's just one of the laziest techno remixes I've ever heard. Electronic remixes. You never know with me, right? It could have been a bit, but that remix of Dragula where devil on your back, I can never die, I can never die, I can, and it just repeats that one line over. It's like, okay, yeah, really clever. This is not Fatboy Slim. Like, we could have done something else with this. And also, this song was perfect already. Kind of weird, right? I'm not saying that there aren't like good White Zombie songs. I'm sure there are. I think I've heard a couple, maybe. I'm not saying there aren't other good Rob Zombie songs from later in his career. I've heard at least one that was pretty good. But it's absolutely wild that just right there in the middle at the start of his solo career, Rob Zombie released Dragula, an album, or not Dragula, what the fuck? Hellbilly Deluxe, an album that like is not a genre of music that is like particularly high on my list of things I like to listen to, but every song on it is perfect, and it's just a friggin' magnificent album. It's weird. It's the time of year for it. Probably listen to it this week.
Want to know what else I found, Jack? Your fingerprint on Nessa's ruby brooch. Can you think of any reason why I'd find that? Uh, okay. I helped Margot hide the brooch. It was the least I could do, seeing as Nessa probably killed her. That's not how the flow of time works, though, Jack. Nessa probably murdered Margot, right? Or at least poisoned her? I don't know if I've seen that, but I will have to look into it because that sounds very funny. Way back, maybe I should see if they've migrated to Blue Sky. But way back when Twitter wasn't a Nazi cesspool, there was a gimmick account that was just Soviet soldiers dancing. And so they took various historical archival footage of Russian dances being performed by Soviet soldiers. And then they just set them to different popular songs, and it's so good. Great gimmick. That's what you figure, right? Yes, that's what I think. Margot was telling me that Nessa headed out for her. She didn't tell me why she thought so. But it was easy to see, wasn't it? Nessa thought Margot would get the lodge and land instead of her. So yeah, when Margot came to me to help her hide the brooch, I did just that. So you're saying it had nothing to do with the murder that hadn't happened yet? I couldn't hide it in my room because Albert's using it. Couldn't hide it in the room I'm sharing with Corvus, too risky. So I hid the brooch in Margot's giant closet. Reached up high into her hats, pinned it inside one of them. Margot couldn't have reached up there. She was even shorter than you. We were going to sell it, use the money to help with the lodge's upkeep. So's Nessa could at least indirectly help fund that, something she should have been doing anyway. But now, Margot's dead, Evan's disappeared, Nessa and Corvus are off who knows where. Things are coming apart. I don't see much point in anything anymore. You keep it. You found it fair and square. Pay your way through school or something. Make something good come of all this. Okay, Jack. I'll hold on to it for now. And maybe now we have a permission structure to fuck it up. Let's go somewhere discreet. Does the notebook confirm? No. The notebook doesn't confirm it's all good to ruin the brooch now. But I think it might be. Let's see. Can we get a little privacy? Yep. Rub salt on brooch. Remove the cabochon? No, you can't do that. Take ruby from brooch. Well, I guess we're just going to continue with the working theory that I'm going to get another chance where Nancy is finally like, yeah, it's just my fucking brooch now. So anything I'm missing here? I don't have time to do the whole ending sequence. So we are going to have to, I think we've come far enough that we can say next week we will start the anti-hero run of Quest for Glory. And a nice thing is that although there will be things that I just don't remember exactly, and there will be things that I need to figure out again because I'm going to do a pure thief, no magic. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going back and forth on how in character I'm going to try to do the whole, like I was thinking, yeah, and to put off finally finishing Ultima 7 Part 2 Serpentile. Extend the period where like we still enjoy Ultima as long as possible before we have to do Pagan and Ascension someday. We got a little time based on the latest updates about Child of Light or Children of Light. Okay. Child of Light is a whole different thing.
a very fun little mini 2-player or 2-character 1-player if you want Ubisoft creation that at least in its English translation suffers horribly because they decided to do the whole script in poetry, but they did wrong. Whoever did it was not aware that poetry is about meter and rhythm. You can have rhyme and you can not have rhyme, but you really kind of need rhythm for poetry. So the lines do not scan at all. What am I doing? I don't know. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, got to ask people about the symbol? Do I still have to ask them about the symbol even though Nancy solved it? I'm not sure. If I do, I bet Kimi would be a good one to ask. If she wasn't in bed. Sleeping. Meanwhile, if she's sleeping in there, let's shut the door for her. I can't remember what it is that triggers the next advancement because I feel like I've done everything. But hold on. Let's try asking about the symbol, I guess. Or telling. Yeah, we can talk from here, I'm sure. I suspect that Evan was taken and hidden in one of Crimson's garnet mines. Mines sound like dangerous places. Yeah, it usually does. I'm thinking I might have confused myself by hold on. Tell Ranger Murdoch about Margot's illness. But I definitely did that. Okay, let's look at things that aren't checked off. Ask Nathan about the report. We did it. Search the clothes. We did that. Talk to Jack or Nathan. This might be so much easier than it could have seemed. Talk to Jack. Yep. You breathlessly tell Nathan and Jack your theory about what happened in the smokehouse. Kind of feel like Nancy tells everybody everything breathlessly. Ending with your belief that Mr. Richards was taken to the garnet mines. You think Mr. Richards was taken to the garnet mines? Yeah, that's what the fuck I just said, Jack. Those have been shut for decades. Which makes them a perfect place to hide someone. Uh-oh. We should drive out there and check, just in case. I agree. It'll take some time to prep the automobile. To the carriage house. I'll meet you there. I'm going to fetch Ranger Murdoch. Stay put here in the lodge, Nancy, in case Mr. Richards comes back. It's funny that that's his attitude now. But then when the time comes to go into the mines, and Nancy's like, I'll just wiggle through this small hole alone instead of waiting like 10 more minutes for us to make a hole big enough for you. He's like, good luck, Nancy. Stay sexy. Don't get murdered. Well, I'm certainly not going to just wait around here. Of course you're not. I'll convince Jack and Nathan to take them with me. They need all the help they can get. But before I head out, should I check in with the other folks at the lodge? In the lodge? I mean, I don't know why you would have that thought if we shouldn't, Nancy. Just based on the nature of this fictional universe. Maybe, maybe not. That might be telling me there's something you got to do to maximize your investigation score, or it might be telling me, oh wait, yes, of course, because we can do a whole lot of Albert related discovering stuff. And the dynamite. Yes. There's definitely stuff to do, which is good. Maximize. I got 13 minutes here, so we might as well
keep on having fun. We're fun maxing today because Friday Night Frosting was canceled, but it was moved to after Sunday morning stream. So this is the first fucking thing we've done since last Saturday. What's happened here? Albert's room's a mess. Clothes are hanging haphazardly in the wardrobe. The waste paper basket is stuffed full of papers. And all his luggage is gone. Why do you have to take the kit? Jerk. Okay. I can't remember how important it is to do anything here. Get the telegraph tape. Pick up the strip of telegraph paper. Well done. Examine it. Telegraph tape reads as follows. Carl L. Proceed to Sulak's with package. Deliver package by 3 a.m. Await further instructions. Why is it written in this accent? Well done in crimson. Well done in crimson? What could that mean? And who on earth is Carl L? New task or just... Yeah, Albert de Sulak's? Who's Carl L? What'd you find, Nancy? What's going on here? Oh, of course. Examining is concatenated with opening. You open the right desk drawers. They're empty. That wasn't even really what I wanted you to do, but okay. There's just nothing on the desk anymore. Still got his books. The spines aren't broken. The cover shows no signs of wear. These books are in pristine condition. I guess Albert takes really good care of his books. Maybe that's the... Can we steal them now? Those are Albert's books. He wouldn't appreciate that. Why'd the narrator say it like that? What's going on? Be bad enough in general, I think, to hear the narrator of your life, but especially when they start ominously foreshadowing things. Okay. Wait, what's this sticking out from under the bed? Small single bed in this room. Large red. Oh, right. Trying to examine the cylinder more. Okay. Oh, well done, though. You've concluded that you need to pick this thing up. You reach down to retrieve the red cylinder from Albert's bed. Uh-oh. Nancy hears voices coming through the door and cannot suppress her antisocial urge to eavesdrop on a person's conversation. Excuse me. I'm trying to solve a mystery here. Uh-oh. I think this is a stick of dynamite. Also, he took the field kit that he doesn't need because his spy cover story isn't needed anymore, but he dropped the dynamite. Yep, stick of dynamite. Looking at it makes you sweat. Dynamite is not a standard piece of mineralogical equipment. That was one of the mineralogy facts I already knew. Albert stored some of his things in the blue trunk upstairs, in the upstairs closet. I wonder if anything was left behind. Meanwhile, oh! The big blue trunk's lid is up. The padlock's hanging open. I wonder what was stored in here.
Meanwhile, the green trunk. Is that Chekhov's green trunk? And I just haven't figured out how it plays in, or is that Sartre's green trunk? Means nothing. You peer into the blue trunk. There's some old threadbare linens lining the interior and obscuring the trunk's bottom. But by methodically feeling around inside, you discover a bullet and a blasting cap.
My father was in construction. I know a blasting cap when I see one. But why would Albert put these in here? Jack let Albert store his things in this trunk. He wanted to lock all this away. The same as how he demanded to stay in Jack's room, the only bedroom with a lock.
Why does Jack get the only lock?
Seems like Albert was concerned about keeping his secrets. And he's armed? Uh-oh. He was carrying dynamite with him, too. It was wise of him to store the dynamite and blasting caps separately. He seems to know more about demolition than mineralogy.
Let's take that cap. Putting it nowhere near the red cylinder because of what we just said about Albert and his wisdom. You take the blasting cap. Take the bullet. And when the revolution comes, please take my rifles and take my guns. Take my place, after all, you are my son. Take my rifles and take my guns. A single bullet loaded in each one. Bullet by Frank Black and the Catholics. Fucking great song. Really, I have not listened to much Frank Black and the Catholics outside of just the Dog in the Sand album, which when I wanted to find out about Frank Black and the Catholics because I love the Pixies, I picked one at random and got really lucky because the consensus is basically like there's good Frank Black and the Catholic songs, I guess, but this is the album that is like, holy shit, they made it work. And every song on that is a goddamn banger. And Bullet is an excellent song. You examine the bullet through the loop, but you don't know enough about bullets to glean any more information. Dust the bullet. It was a good thought. Oh. Thanks, game. Oh, weird. It didn't actually add something new to the... Oh, because it just said, well done for having a good thought. That's kind. The maker's mark is imprinted on the tin. You recognize the brand as one that is commonly used in Tirana.
My father was in construction, so I know what these look like. Kids would sometimes play with them. Not me, but other kids. It's likely Albert purchased these blasting caps in Canada. They tend not to get shipped overseas because they're fairly hazardous materials. Though it's hard to tell with the design printed on the lid. I think you can see an oily smudge. You revealed a fingerprint. Ah. Get that print. I can submit this to the authorities as is. No need to lift the fingerprint.
Okay. Sure. We can stop being thorough now. You've revealed a fingerprint. After comparing the fingerprint to your collection, you conclude...
Aha! As I suspected, this fingerprint belongs to Albert. Blasting caps are not standard mineralogist equipment.
No, they're not, Nancy. Okay. This is a good spot to stop. We will pretty much just hit the climax and denouement next time, and still have time to fire up Hero's Quest. So you want to be a hero. And I'm very excited for that, to finally start the anti-hero run. to go back to a game that I love, but experience it in a different way. All that stuff. And I hope you are too. So that'd be cool. There's going to be new things that I've never done before. What are the special thief mechanics? I gather that there's stealing to be done all the time. And I think I know that there's a secret symbol you can share. Flash to other thieves. So I'm looking forward to exploring all those parts of the game. And we'll see how much I remember. So this could go pretty quickly. Be a pretty brisk playthrough. Or it could get gummed up in the same ways that I got gummed up in different Quest for Glory games where I couldn't figure out the thing to do to make the sequence work. But we'll see. I'm excited. Hope you are too. Okay, let's wrap it up. What's coming up? Well, this very evening at 6:30 p.m. Central, not Central, Eastern time, 7:30 where I live in the Atlantic time zone, we're doing Sunday night, Friday night Frosthaven. So cool. That'll be fun. Right now it's on the schedule starting a half hour later than I just said, but I will update the schedule to reflect that because we got to get through this fast so that Rich and I can get to our fantasy basketball draft. So we're doing that tonight. That's fun. I think, as far as I know, that we're back on track. We had to cancel Greg and James and Ghosts and Goblins this week because Greg got free football tickets. Association football. Soccer, as we sometimes call it. Well, I mean, I appreciate you wishing me a nice evening as well, British. But it's true. I will be enjoying the rest of the afternoon first. And I hope you have a nice evening. There won't be Friday Night Frosthaven this Friday, but I'll talk to the boys and see if we can just move it to Thursday. Because I would like to just keep on doing stuff. Get back in the habit of doing stuff regularly here. I'm still dreaming. It's been so long since I had a week where we just hit the 4 regular shows we do here. But a boy can dream. But it can't be Friday because I'm going to a drag show Friday night. Then Saturday, play some Suikoden 2. I might be a little tired and a little tipsy because after the drag show Friday night, we're also going to drag brunch on Saturday. But figured it. We'll go from there. Very excited to see one of our local queens who was just announced as a competitor on the next season of Canada's Drag Race. When they revealed all the competitors, I will say that I'm very confident that our girl will go far, or that it'll be a travesty if she doesn't. But it's a little different from last year. We watched last season, and there's no way to say this and not sound like an asshole. We watched last season almost immediately after I decided to become a drag queen, and obviously I hadn't developed very much. And when I was watching last season, I thought okay, yeah, I wouldn't be eliminated first. I could definitely make it. They did a comedy challenge, which would have helped me the first week. They do a sewing challenge the first week. If I was on Canada's Drag Race, it's over. But anyway, this year it looks like less of a 4 of these people. The final 4 is clear right away. So maybe our girl is gonna have a little more trouble, but I believe in her because she's awesome, just great, Miss Maya Fox. Yeah. So anyway, that, and then next Sunday, let's finally find out how this all wraps up when you do it well, and then let's play some Quest for Glory. Awesome. All right. So great time. I hope you had a great time. Or at least a good time. I mean, you got what you paid for. It's free. Sweet. That's it. That's all there is. If you stuck around to the end, thanks for sticking around to the end. If you came and you left, you can't hear my voice. Glad you stopped by anyway. Thanks for stopping by. And until the next time, which is later today, when we're all together, or at least I'm here, take care of yourselves and be kind to everyone you meet.